a short little panel this morning. Um, so here it is, yeah. And today I found out is International Podcasting Day. So happy that. Hey Leggy, how you doing? Happy International Podcasting Day. Um, I figured that was appropriate. I don't have too much going on. Um, I did not watch the mountain show last night, so I'm going to do that today in the Discord if anybody wants to join us. Um, and now I'm here. Not too much going on here. I'm still living the modern lifestyle, post-COVID. COVID, post-COVID. Oh, well, fortunately, we got Mr. Leggy on.
What's going on? Hey, do you see this avatar?
The what?
You see my avatar? Look at that.
Hang on, let me pull it up.
Any guesses what it is?
It's a hand. Is this a picture you found on the internet or something you took in person?
No, like this is legit. I found it on the boat.
Or is it a
Like
glove?
no, it is a sea sponge.
What?
Yeah, that's a sea sponge. That's SpongeBob's hand.
I would have never got that.
That is though. That's a sea sponge.
Is that fresh, like recent?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they they come up out of the trap, right? And the other stairman, he had it in his hand. He turned. I come up and he slapped me with it. He goes there. I go, what the hell was that? He goes, SpongeBob lost his hand. He goes, I wanted to see if it worked. I go, what worked? Well, I wanted to see if it was full of water. I go, it's a sponge that just come out of the water. Of course it's full of water, you dumbass.
Are you out on the boat today?
No,
No.
I don't. We just the captain went to go get some bait, and so I'm waiting for him to get back, and then we're gonna put bait and 40 traps on the boat.
Oh, okay. So you're at work right now.
No, I'm home right now.
Oh, okay. 40 traps, you said?
Yeah, that's 2 trawls. So.
Nice. What's the weather today?
Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yesterday was one of the best days we've had, I think, absolutely, positively all year. Like, there wasn't a stitch of breath of wind at all yesterday. That water was just like glass all day.
Oh, nice. Was it sunny?
Sunny and bright. Very warm. It was nice working weather, though. Nice working weather. Oh.
Good.
Oh, fuck.
So what you got planned today, other than if your boss calls?
Nothing. Get my check, go cash it, and pay rent. That's pretty much about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, sounds like a pretty normal day so far.
Yeah, pretty much. Normal. You know. I might go get some Skittles today.
You might.
I might get Skittles, so I might still. Holy fuck. Alright, this is ridiculous.
Can't wait to find out.
I'm convinced there's something dead in my house. And I just don't know where.
Yeah, that's. Are you smelling something? It seems
No,
important to
like
find
I got
out.
fucking. So, like. I got these fucking. Like, me and the wife, we went and did like the super fucking deep clean of the house the other day, right? And then, like, ever since we did this super clean of. It makes no sense. Like, there's fucking fruit flies everywhere. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? I go, there has to be something dead upstairs in one of the kids' closets or something stupid. Like, it makes no sense to me. Or they got something upstairs. I don't know. I can't figure it out for the life of me.
Or do you go check? Do you go spy?
Well, I mean, I do go up and look, but Jesus Christ, they cleaned their rooms last night, supposedly.
What would what would they have that's dead? Do y'all have pets?
Well, I do have pets, but I don't think it is anything dead. I'm just saying, like I don't
This
know.
this
It's
suck.
fucking. It's just odd to me. Like you know what I mean. I don't have no fruit laying around. I don't have no fucking trash laying around. I don't have no garbage. No fucking vegetables out. Like no nothing. So I don't understand where these cocksuckers are coming from, unless they're coming up through the fucking drain or something.
What is it? You said
Well, the fruit flies, drain
fruit fly.
flies,
Oh,
whatever the hell they are. Like I don't understand where the fuck they've come from. Like they literally appeared out of nowhere. Like we didn't have them, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're here. I don't fucking know where the hell they came from.
we used to get them in the garbage disposal sometimes.
Well, like I bleached the, I had my sink, so I didn't realize my sink was leaking around the seal. Yeah, you know the drain. You got a seal that the gasket that holds your drain into the actual sink. Well, I didn't realize that had come loose or whatever the fuck the issue is, right? So like the other day when we did that deep clean, I got looking underneath there. I got trash bag out from underneath the sink and fucking I was like, holy hell, why is it all wet? And I looked and I go, oh, that makes sense. Fuck pain in the ass, but
Huh.
who knows? Enough about my fly issue.
Well, that's the most that's going on right now. I don't have any flies in my world to
Well,
talk about.
well, you know.
He's saying it might be your shitty attitude. This machete guy.
I don't even know who the hell Machete is, but
I don't
okay.
either, but it looks like he came with one.
I get a shitty attitude, huh?
Oh well, he's not directly saying that. If it's even a he, I'm assuming gender. Let's see what this person's about. 46 subscribers. Well, they do have content
We like
or
content.
playlist.
We like content.
Francis Yates. Oh, okay, that's that. Yeah, I know that name. Okay.
Hey, do you ever watch any of like anything from Brian Green? Do you know who Brian Green is? He's like
So,
one of the like in the United States. He's probably like when it comes to like physics and stuff like that. He's probably like I believe he's a professor at Columbia University. Like he's the head of that. He wrote all kinds of books. He does the World Science Fair festival, World Science Festival and shit. Anyways, he does a lot of videos with like of the guests and stuff that they have at these conventions, and a lot of them has to do with like space and time and all that. And I was watching one yesterday that he did, and it was talking about what is time. Like you know what I mean? Like is time like time is perception. You know what I mean? Like time's not real. Time's real, but it's not real. Does that make
there's
sense?
human time, which is how humans experience time. I think that's perception.
Because, like,
And then
as
there's
he
like
said,
cosmic time, which is completely different, I think, than the way humans experience it.
well, listen, because if you hypothetically, time is only relevant to you as far as like your surroundings. So, say you get in, so you can get into a machine, right? Say you can travel if you could physically do it, some type of capsule. You travel 6 months at light speed, right? Do a turn, right? You go out 6 months into space at the speed of light, right? And you do a turn and come back to Earth. And I think it's like 327 years. They say if you were gone 1 light year, like if you travel 6 months one way and come 6 months back, it'd be like 300 and some years
Yeah,
that you
you'd
passed
still
on
be the
Earth.
same age you were,
But you would still be exactly like
and
time was
everybody
passed
else would be
dead
dead.
and gone. So it makes you wonder, is that really true? Like, if you're really traveling if it was plausible to travel that fast, right?
I think
Without
that was
light,
Einstein. Theoretically, it's true, but fit like there's physical limitations because the human body could never. survive at the speeds necessary to actually make it happen. Like the human organism couldn't do it because of
Well,
physical limitations.
the biggest thing for the G force, you wouldn't really experience. Yeah, I mean, you would have the G force holding you back, but I don't think you'd really have that. You would have more of a G force when you come into that turn, the turn to come back, than you would anything. Because that's where you would, I think, you would really have it. You know what I mean? Because you got that. You're continuing your speed, but you're turn making that turn, so that would really. I don't know, but theoretically, that's what it would be.
But even
Yes.
then, you wouldn't really be traveling backwards in time because your timeline would still be going forward. It would just diverge from the timeline of everybody else, and
Yeah,
then you
essentially
you would encounter
you're traveling in time. You're not traveling
because
back in
it's
time.
based
You can never
it's
go
distance
backwards
and
in time.
time. Yeah, the
I don't
arrow
think
of
you
time.
if
Humans
anything,
can't.
I think it'd be physical it'd be more plausible than to go forward in time than it would to ever go back. You'd never be able to go back in time. Just I don't think the laws of physics would even allow it. You couldn't you know what I mean? They say technically like Einstein's E equals MC squared technically would be the formula for time travel, but
That's the speed of light. The it's the relationship between energy and matter.
yeah. Well, it's like did you I watched this video the other day these guys they took two cannons put two crystal balls in these each cannon, right? Shot them out together, right? When the glass, that crystal hits, dude, and this was a 10,000 frames per second slow mo camera. So, I mean, it slows it down quite a bit. When they fucking hit, dude, it creates this burst of light and energy, and it's so quick when it happens, like the kinetic energy when they hit, even with it slowed down as it's just boom, instant. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like you flick your fingers.
Is that in the Snake Temple machete? Because supposedly, let's see, the legend of the Chronovisor, the Vatican's secret time machine. Oh Lord, just with the
Uh, IG,
I
I
have
don't know.
never heard all the conspiratards that hang out here that they have never mentioned this.
I've never heard anything about a time machine in the Vatican.
Here, I'm gonna do my part for conspiracies everywhere and post this link. Hey, fools and tools.
But no, I think the record for fastest boat, lobster boat, I think is 67 miles per hour.
Oh, that's
I think
slower
that's the
than a
record.
car.
I think that's yeah, but for a fucking lobster boat, that's cruising. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You're doing 60 plus in a fucking boat, you're cruising. Fuck if you're doing 25 knots or faster, that's just fucking ridiculous amount of speed in a boat. Like you know what I mean?
Oh my God, y'all ready for this? This machine that the Vatican has, it doesn't like travel in time, but it can record. It can like look into time and record events, and they used it supposedly to go back and record the actual crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and it's captured by this time machine. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. I
Who
think
knows?
humans have always been this way. Has
There's
all
all.
the tools.
I think there's a whole. I don't know. I still think there's a whole fucking history that's been lost in the world. I really do. I mean, you just think about how many civilizations that's been lost and buried throughout the years. How many cultures have come and gone? Like, and I
Yeah,
don't think they've
probably. Like,
necessarily disappeared. They've just been integrated. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Aztecs and all that shit.
I know that's I'm only hearing about it today. That's what surprises me. What's Abanasia?
Can you hear
Is
me?
it
All right, you can hear me. Good. I had a phone call, so I didn't know you could hear me.
like a K-pop version of ABBA? Oh Lord, now the priest too. In my culture, the priest, because it's a Catholic culture, the priest is like what takes the place of hating the government or not trusting the government. It's my culture. It's like the priests are corrupt, and you don't trust the priest, and the priests are the ones that are. Cause so they have the kind of like the archetype of the corrupt priest or the untrustworthy priest in my culture instead of the government official. And I guess that's how it was in the Middle Ages. It was the priest you had to worry about being corrupt.
Well, still, even today, you got to worry about them being fucking corrupt.
Yeah, I guess you do, but it only really matters if you take the church seriously. Like if it's not your church, that it like if they're corrupt, it's not going to affect you. But if a politician is corrupt, it will.
Well, I mean, not so. Yeah, not nowadays. Back in the day, it would have.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still adamant, and nobody can change my mind on it. The the Bible that we know today, and the religion that we know today, back in the Middle Ages and all that, it was pretty much used for a way to keep people in line. It was a way to get people to live a life the way that they wanted them to. You know what I mean? They set out a set of rules for society, and that's what they based it on. They based it on in faith, and pretty much, that they would scare the shit out of people. They would
But
do.
people had all that even without religion. They had rules, like tribes had rules that they organized themselves by. So it's
Well,
it,
I understand that, but I feel like it was more of an agenda. You know what I mean? Like it was. I don't know. I just
like it
because
was
at one
created
point in
and
time,
imposed on
the
people
church had
instead of
more
naturally
power than
emerged from the
the
culture.
kings did. You know what I mean? Like the church had more power. Like they really did than a lot of the kings did. That's why. What was it? Henry V. That's why he split off and
Oh, I
created the
thought you
Church
were
of England.
talking about
One of
like
the
way back in ancient history. I didn't know you meant the medieval church.
No, I'm talking about like medieval times and shit like that. You know, the because when they pretty much the Old Testament to the New Testament type deal. You know, because there's many books and stuff that was wrote that when they redid the Bible and all that, and they took a look and they, all right, so these stories and these books don't necessarily fit the message that we're trying to deliver, so we're going to remove them or not include them into the Bible, even though the biblical text, they're not included into the Bible. Does that make sense? Like there is biblical text that is not in the Bible at all.
Well,
Even I
each
think some of the satanic texts.
there's many
So,
different Bibles because each denomination has their own Bible. So there's not just one standard Bible. It's whatever books people collect and call their Bible is the Bible.
but when we think of the Bible, we think of the Holy Bible,
If you
and
mean
that's what we're
King
talking.
James, that's one version of the Bible, and so there are books that were left out of King James. Well, they have the Apocrypha. They still were
I mean, all the
published, but
Bible, the Old
separately.
Testament, New Testament. I mean, there's similarities, but they're still different.
Well, yeah, because it's a collection of writings over time by many
So
different
I'm
people.
saying exactly. Like there's stories that's based in truth. Some of it, like I believe there was a flood. Like just look at the fucking world. I mean, look at where there's water. But I also believe that the world was Pangea at one time. That it was one giant continent that eventually split off, and
Yeah, that makes
you know what I
sense, and I
mean.
think we have a
I
lot of
think that
evidence for
happened,
that.
but I also think there was also lands that got reclaimed by the sea. Like you know what I mean. So like I believe the stories of Atlantis and stories of civilizations that were lost, like Sri Lanka or the Golden City. Uh,
You think there was an
we all,
Atlantis?
yeah,
I
one
mean,
hundred
I guess
percent. I
there's no
believe
way
there's
to
Atlantis.
know, but I, it seems like we would have
I
found
mean,
it by now.
let's think about it. You can find stories of Atlantis throughout history. Like I believe,
Legends, maybe, but you find
I
legends
think,
of all kind of stuff.
but I think Pluto. was it Pluto or Socrates or whatever?
Plato.
Whoever it was that made it, that really. But you can even find talks of it in other cultures. You know what I mean? Not just ancient Greek and ancient Roman.
Well, it originated in Plato because it was
No,
Plato.
I think there's stories though. I think they found stories before that though, like
Well,
text and stuff like in
I'm on
Egypt and all
Wikipedia
that.
and it's not saying. It says the only primary sources for Atlantis are Plato's dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. All other mentions of the island are based on them. The dialogues claim to quote Solon, who visited Egypt between 590 and 580, but we only have Plato's word for that
But
that he's
but I
quoting.
was just watching something where they had found what they believe was Egyptian hieroglyphs of a story referring to Atlantis.
Oh, well, that's news. That's new to me, and that has
Like, you
not
know
made
what I
its way
mean?
into Wikipedia yet.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it, Wikipedia is
So,
just a fucking user-based type source, and you could go in and edit it for Christ's sake.
right. So if that's new information, somebody could go add that in. They should. But this is the first time I'm hearing about Egypt and hieroglyphs and Atlantis. So that sounds like one of those History Channel conspiracies that they run now and then for ratings. Why? Let's see. I'm googling for it though. Is Atlantis mentioned in the mysterious Egyptian temple of Edfu? It's as close as I'm coming. The connection between Egypt and Atlantis. So supposedly Plato's talking about a claim that this guy Critias made about a time when Solon visited Egypt. So this is all legend and gossip about Solon and his time in Egypt. And while he was there, they told him the story about Atlantis. And then he brought it back to Greece, and Critias quoted it, and then Plato is quoting Critias. And Plato's account even claims that the story of Atlantis. So Plato himself is the one that suggested it's written that the histories of it are written in Egypt. So all of this still comes from Plato. I'm looking for details. Oh, the temple that the hieroglyphs are in wasn't built until after Plato. So it could not have been a temple that Solon visited
Oh,
that he got the
after
story
play.
from.
Okay,
It
okay.
also postdates Plato. So if it's
I
Plato
stand
is still
corrected
as
then.
far back as you can go to trace any authentic mention of the story that doesn't derive from him. Uh, uh, that's what I had always known Atlantis is, that it was a legend associated with Plato.
I don't know. I think there's. I don't know. I believe there's basis in it, in the truth in it.
You just
I do.
because it's fun to believe.
Well, I don't know if it's fun to believe, but I just, as
Why?
I said,
Why do you?
there's so many cultures that's been there that's disappeared. Like, you know what I mean? So,
That's like people
I
that
mean,
believe in aliens just because they
let's
can't
think about it.
imagine that it's not
Probably,
possible that we don't have aliens, but
how
there's
long
no other
ago did
reason
we?
to believe. It's
How
just for
long
like
ago did we
internal
discover like
consistency.
the fucking the Valley of the Dead or the fucking pyramids and shit? Like rediscover them. Like, you know what I mean? You think about it. All of these things were buried. Like the Sphinx was buried in sand. It was just a head out. And now you look at how big that is. You think of the thousands of years that it took for that sand to come and from all them storms to build up onto that to cover such a large structure. So why is it too far fetched to think that there could have been a civilization that got swallowed by the sea? I mean, Like, what about that civilization off of that? Is it Japan? Where like there's debate whether or not it's man made or if it's nature because you got things
I'm
that are
not
so.
saying there's it's not possible there's not some civilization that's undersea. I'm just saying Atlantis specifically. I don't think it's that civil. I don't think it's a civilization called Atlantis that like Plato talks about in his book. I'm not saying somewhere on the planet there's not some kind of, but at the same time, I feel like we would have found all of those by now with our technology. Like if there's these big civilizations laying under the water, they would be obvious. Like it would be obvious when we try to look for them with modern technology. It would be hard to hide from that. So yeah, I guess maybe somewhere there's a few like buildings and temples underwater somewhere, but I don't think it's like I don't know why people think it would take the form of the way Plato describes it in Atlantis. Other than that, Plato was a very powerful mythologist and captivated people's imaginations to that degree. I'm reading about these lights. An increase in the brightness of artificial lights from how would artificial lights be anywhere but on Earth? I'm, I'm reading about them now, Jeremy. They're not really coming out and saying they're calling them artificial lights, but they're not really saying what they are. Hey Joe,
Good morning, Jeff.
do you know anything about these lights in outer space? James Webb Space Telescope finds signs of possible lights on a planet 47 light years away. But why are they calling them artificial lights?
That's a good question. Were
May
the
just have
light?
found aurorae appearing as lights on what is known as a brown. So they're seeing lights in space. Like that's what astronomers study: electromagnetic radiation in space.
Yeah, but it's light in space. It's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, it comes where all the other light comes from. There's lots of light in space.
Hmm.
They're being very vague about what this light is. Like they're not. It's like they're deliberately not giving a lot of detail so they can make it seem like it's something mysterious. I want a more
Ooh.
I want a more credible source. So far, I'm not getting any Lad Bible, Centauri Dreams, um, Astrobiology. Those are the websites that are coming up. Nothing like Scientific American, CNN. There's something from Harvard. Let me look at that. Anyway, how are you? What's up?
Nothing much. Just enjoying the last
Not
day
much.
of the month.
Oh, right. I think it's those ghost stories that they
Mm.
probably saw some lights, which astronomers see lights in space all the time.
People
And
love ghost
so
stories.
it's probably people hungry for a ghost story because their minds are restless. It's not engaged in anything active or productive. They're the dreamers, not the doers.
Yeah, people.
That is what every single time I dig into this crap it comes down to. Yeah, but it's still fun. Yeah, but it's still interesting. Yeah, but it's still neat. Which yeah, okay, you're indulging in fiction. That is a enduring human need. But just be honest about what you're doing. Quit fucking with people's reality and make it like making it seem like if we don't take it seriously there's something. Just admit you're indulging in speculative fiction. Nothing wrong
I'll
with
be
that.
right
This is
back,
why
Jeff.
people
Own
go
it.
with.
I gotta
Embrace
call my
it.
wife. I'll be right
This
back.
is why. This is
All
why
right.
people go with stock tips. Always leave them by.
With stock
Um,
tips.
yeah, like weird ones they like hear from someone like on the bus or in line at a coffee shop, and they're like, dude, this stock does this, and it's gonna break ground, and it's gonna give you 100 times your money. They did it like an episode of Seinfeld right on this, and um that episode of Seinfeld is like perfect. That you could do an analysis about why
What's it called? I might watch it today.
it's called the stock tip. That's the
The
name of the
stock
episode.
tip. Okay.
It was like one of their earlier episodes, like maybe like season 2 or 3. And George gets this stock tip. He shares it with his friends. And Jerry decides to go in on it with him. And it's about, how they respond to that. And it's a great episode because it actually shows like why you shouldn't do that. And then,
Like this one little rumor of a tip
yeah,
caused the whole.
it was a tip about televising for a company that's televising opera. Okay. And it's just like it's this weird sounding thing. And these tips that people will put their savings into are always these really weird things. And the reason is that it's the ghost story element. It's a stock plus a
Well,
ghost
they say the most
story.
powerful force in the universe is gossip. And I think that
Yeah.
speaks to people's suggestibility and willingness to believe stories that align with what they want to be true.
Whereas like if there's a company and it just sells cans of paint, like what you use for your walls, and it's profitable, it grows like 5%, not five, maybe not five, maybe more like 2 or 3% every year. Maybe the stock just went down like 40%, right? But it just sells cans of paint. It's not going to get people excited. Um, it could pay like a 9% dividend and people would not get excited.
Because there's no ghost story attached to it.
Exactly. Cans of paint just it's going to put people to sleep, right? It's how you get women not to sleep with you if you're a straight guy.
It's logos over pathos and logos.
Exactly.
And most people, I think, need that pathos element.
Jeremy is saying, I just follow what Nancy Pelosi is investing in, like Nvidia. See, there's another Pelosi reference there.
Yeah, ghost story.
Um,
The Pelosi ghost story.
yeah, so they love talking about her, but he says, I already give Nvidia tons of money all the time. Are you doing that by buying the shares, or are you doing that by um buying like
How many
products that use
TVs do you
Nvidia
have at your
chips?
house?
Yeah, because if you're buying the shares, it's more like they're giving you money, or no, if you're selling the shares, I should say. Yeah, but if you're buying the shares, you're not really giving it to Nvidia,
Right.
unless they were trying to raise capital and they actually were offering more shares on the market. But Nvidia is not doing that. They are buying shares back. Oh, buying GPUs. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you are giving them money. You money giver. I gave them money recently. This laptop I have um has the sticker says the GeForce RTX. So that's a thing. In fact, it's right next to an Intel sticker. Intel and Nvidia can live in harmony.
Is
Okay.
that that like Dell is kind of my go-to brand when I'm shopping around. I look at them first. Is Nvidia like the new? Is it a better brand now? Because I'm
Uh,
still working
so
off of like the 2000s
so Dell
template.
makes like actual PCs. And Intel basically like the semiconductor for which they
Oh,
are known is
Intel
the
is Nvidia.
CPU.
It's the same thing.
No, Intel and Nvidia are different companies.
Oh,
Yeah, Intel is known for
the
CPUs.
chips.
Yeah, and Nvidia is known for GPUs. They're both chips, but they basically process information differently.
Oh, so you
Um,
mean a laptop with an Nvidia chip? They don't make their
yeah,
own laptops.
right.
Okay.
They don't even make the whole chip. They just make like the proprietary part of it, and they get Taiwan Semiconductor company to make the rest of the chip. Um, but yeah, they've invented the GPU, and Intel basically invented the CPU, and so there's just different chips for different purposes, and the GPUs it turns out happen to be really good for AI, so that's why Nvidia is making so much money. But if you're a gamer, you're
Oh.
probably still buying. NVIDIA chips or laptops with NVIDIA chips.
GPUs.
Yeah, so graphics processing units, and they
Because
so
I usually get like I look at the gaming laptops, and so that's generally what
yeah,
I get. So that would be a GPU.
yeah, so it probably has a GPU made by NVIDIA or AMD in it if you're getting a gaming laptop.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's like so
But there
much
is still
to
a market for the CPUs. So IBM
yeah,
has
yeah,
its own niche.
yeah. So CPUs are more good for like like a total processing thing, and GPUs are more good for the complexity that's in processing um the graphical capabilities of the game, because that's like complex three-dimensional space stuff that's being rendered, and there's a lot of things that need to be processed in parallel to each other is a way of summarizing it.
Hey, Sasquatch.
What's happening, brother?
How are you? What's going on over there?
Well, they've cleared enough of the roads that we can generally drive around now. A handful of businesses have opened. Handful didn't close.
Oh,
But,
Okay, so I see you're taking an alternate route in the meantime.
no, I bring this with me for any crap that gets talked. We can just stuff it in the hole.
Okay, Jeff, that's the portal
the
to the
troll
next
hole.
winning stock tip. Okay, so if you go down that portal, it will take you to the next winning stock tip.
So how we doing?
Oh, pretty good. Just doing the morning coffee thing.
Yeah, I just had an interesting interaction at the Waffle House. I spend a lot of time at my local Waffle House because it's not a bar. So
There you go.
they're only because the a tornado snatched the power set from the parking lot. They've got a generator out there, and they're making a very limited uh, menu. And I walked in and poked my head through the door. Was like, "Y'all got coffee?" She said, "Yeah." Just slid one of the chairs out, and they know me there, but the district manager has never met me. And I walked through all the little tape right on through and sat down and got my coffee. And the local manager looked up, nodded at me, went back to what he was doing. District manager come over and was like, "We're only doing takeout orders. Seems legit. You can only get a to go order. Makes sense.
All right,
You
thank you, Sasquatch. You reminded me that I was heating up some cider and I needed to go
excellent."
ahead and get it. Like, knowing
Um,
me, I probably would have let it boil away, and I would have been so mad.
We
this
get
goes
it.
back and forth for a solid 10 minutes before the manager walks over, looks at the district manager, and is like, he almost works here. He's here more than I am. That's his chair. He's sitting in it. He was here before I got this job. He was sitting right there where he's sitting right now. So if he's going to order, he'll order eventually. Otherwise, he'll drink some coffee and it'll be fine. And
That's a
district
good
manager,
manager.
yeah, right. They had a little
Wow.
look at each other for a minute and then went in separate directions. They were like, okay, whatever.
A good manager? Wow,
And I
that's
always
Like,
rare.
this
skip
is my
extra
store. You're just district manager.
stuff. Basically.
Oh, good. That's a very inspirational story to start the day with.
Yes.
Reminds me of my boss from when I worked at Starbucks. Um, she was out when I remember when we were talking about strong women, and I talked about the best boss I ever had was a woman. Um, that's her. She used to be store manager at the Starbucks where I worked 5 years ago, and now she has since become a district manager in a franchise that does franchise stores of Ben and Jerry's and a couple Starbucks as well. And she's
Are
like
they the same now?
Ben and Jerry's and Starbucks?
Yeah.
No, so it's a franchise business. So they do franchise contracts with Ben and Jerry's and with Starbucks.
Oh, okay. Like a third
Um,
party.
yeah, and so normally Starbucks does not franchise its stores. The franchising that they do is mostly like when there's a Starbucks in a grocery store. But if you go to like an actual like separate store, um, or one that's like in a mall but not attached to like uh like a Harris Teeter or something like that, then it's corporate owned. Starbucks doesn't generally like to franchise.
And so what happened with this lady?
Yeah, she's district manager now, but she's also like very much like was very much like a sense of ownership in her store, and uh, she had a good relationship with her district manager. Her district manager was also a good boss because he actually stood up for her. Uh, when his boss was like trying to like come after her because he had like some personal grudge against her for something stupid. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
that office politics shit.
yeah, and
That's
he
why I
actually
think good
quit over it.
companies,
I hate that stuff.
like that's what keeps companies from being corrupt. When you have employees like that
Yeah.
stand up for the right values and tell the higher ups, like they draw healthy boundaries and stuff.
What's the percentage, though? What's the percentage of employees that are willing to stand in the face of the masses?
Minor,
I'm
very
one of
Almost
them.
small.
none.
I'm one
Small.
of
I
them.
wish we could gather them all together and just create some awesome alternative
That's
something
what
where
I
we
thought
You know
just
what
about.
have
would
the
Create like a whole
best
new company.
and the brightest of everything.
But you know what would happen? You would end up with like the basic company that we'd make basic cigarettes and basic coffee and basic this. Be like
Oh
3M,
yeah,
but basic, something like that.
right.
The
Because here's the
basic
thing,
brand.
Um,
we're all excellent people when we stand on points and we stand on business, but it ruins everyone else's day. So are
Oh,
we
I
so
don't have a
great?
problem doing that.
so
I
when
have
you're a
no
coffee
problem
company, you can
ruining
only get
someone's
three
day.
flavors of
I'm gonna
latte.
say it's a religious duty. I have to.
Yeah, so like
Says the
our three
Satanist.
flavors of latte would be like mocha, vanilla, and caramel. And if you came in, you're like, "Yo, can I get a toffee nut latte?" We're like, "No, you don't need a toffee nut latte.
I came up with
Yeah,
this
these three
stupid
are
idea
fine."
a while back. Me and my wife were talking about now. This is like this is 20 years ago. We're talking about eloping because her parents didn't like me, right? We're discussing the
Oh,
whole concept, and I don't mean as like a hypothetical, but like a possible execution level. Like I've got prices and shit. I'm
oh
putting it.
wow.
Here was our dumb eloping plan, and we still hold a soft spot for this idea to this day. We're going to get a couple of hot dog carts and just tour the country following music festivals around, right? And we had the idea was this: I wanted to serve halal dogs, right? And have one that was for $1 that has nothing on it. You get nothing on it. It's called a simple chimple. Just a hot dog bun. Go away. Give me $1.
Oh
This
my
was
God, I
this was
love it.
our eloping plan, right? So when we got married and everybody just kind of got over themselves suddenly when she decided she was going to marry me, everybody was like, okay, well, fine, whatever. And like none of the threats ever freaking manifested and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
The world lost out.
we just kind of pocketed a whole bunch of those plans over there. And now that we're on the other side of headed towards retirement, we're sitting around going, so what's wrong with a hot dog
I
cart?
know
You know?
we could be talking to the simple chimple guy right now.
Dude, I am the simple chimple guy. That's me. I had a dog named Champ, and somehow in the process of his life, because he did such stupid things sometimes, we started calling him Simple Chimple because he was so dumb. Okay, so most labs, when you get a Labrador Retriever, you expect them to have some energy, right? They're gonna run, they're gonna chew, they're gonna bark, they're gonna just. This dog was a meth lab. He was not your average lab. This dog, and I'm not joking, all of his entire life would run until he passed out and slid to a stop, and that's where he would sleep. If you wanted to move him, you had to go pick him up and carry him where you wanted to go because you couldn't wake him up. Took him to the vet, asked the vet about it. We're standing in the vet. This dog's running in circles around me. He's like, we're in a tiny little room. There's nowhere for him to go. He's like, he walked in, looked around, was like, is this normal? I said, as far as I can tell, man, I've never seen another dog do this, but this is his normal. Does he ever stop? Yeah, when he sleeps. Well, that's fine. Just keep him fed. Okay, he eats 20 pounds a day. He's going 90 to nothing constantly.
Yeah, at least he was a happy dog.
Oh yeah, he was happy all the way up till I had to put him down.
So in the chat,
What's
I proposed the name
Megalopolis? Oh,
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
So Megalopolis. That isn't that the old silent era film.
that's what I was thinking of Metropolis, but apparently
No.
it's
Oh
a
wait,
Francis
maybe
Ford
maybe it's.
Coppola film. It's brand new.
Huh.
Ooh,
2024, an imagined modern United States. It follows the visionary architect Caesar, somebody as he clashes with corrupt mayor Franklin Cicero, in determining how to rebuild the metropolis of New Rome as megalopolis. Oh, it's like a future utopia
he's still
thing.
making fucking movies. Jesus.
I want to see it. Is it good? Do you know anything
Well,
about it?
yeah.
Maybe if someone can find it, we could watch it in Discord. I would love to see this.
How does that work? Watching movies through Discord? Yeah. How does that work?
We all go in the there's a movie channel that we go in, and then somebody will share their screen so we can all watch the same screen, and we usually go on mute while the music's playing because sometimes it echoes. But then you can like text chat while the movie's playing, so we could make little comments on it, and then when it's over we can all talk about it.
Okay. Okay.
So
I've
just
never
like
thought about
the
that.
experience of you sitting by yourself in your house, but knowing there's other people in the computer watching the same movie, some reason it gives you that psychological sensation that you're
Is
watching
anyone
movies with
creeped out by
friends.
that, or is it just me?
Do what?
Is anyone else creeped out by that idea, or is it just me?
Oh, I love it. It's so healthy. It's
I like
Weird.
watching some
Healthy.
episodes.
it's a watch party basically.
I think it'd be a good thing to do for sporting events and shit like that. There,
With what?
more than movies.
Oh yeah, we do it with and sometimes you could. We have a gaming channel. I've shown we binge watch TV shows too, but I have shown like educational documentaries, philosophy docs, history docs, literary history, that kind of stuff. So it can be used for anything.
You should look into using Rumble, Jeff, because
I
Rumble.
did. I did look into it for a while. It didn't seem worth it at the time, putting in the effort to set up another channel.
Well, because what somebody does here on YouTube, they come live on YouTube first, then they'll put in the Rumble link into that, and then they just they when they go live, it's the same show because they're live on Rumble and they're they're live on Rumble and YouTube at the same time. But then they end the YouTube side of it,
Oh yeah, and then they keep
and
a
and they keep
Rumble show going,
The Rumble show
like
going.
the
And then
after hours version,
yeah, pretty
I
much,
tried
yeah.
that.
which
I
I could
couldn't.
pretty much do here. So
I tried that. I couldn't really do. I didn't really do a whole lot of traffic on Rumble. It's kind of a weird forum over there. The chat was sketchy as all get out. It'll say I got 156 people watching. I've got 2 people chatting, and both of them are from YouTube. So I don't. I mean, it's a weird sort of app. It's a strange sort of place to try to catch a grip on, and I've yet to figure out how.
a lot of the
Rumble,
content
yeah,
creators
I
I
don't
know
know
that
about
use it
streaming onto it. I've
say
never
it's
but
not worth
watched
it.
it.
Do what?
I was just saying, I think the Rumble, the best part about Rumble, just because like you don't have the copyright strikes like what you do on YouTube and stuff
Oh,
like
you
that. You
don't?
get away. No, you can play music,
How
videos,
do they
all
get
that
away
shit.
with that?
There's little monetization involved. So like they just remove monetization from that particular stream, and if you're technically speaking, it's not illegal if you're not trying to make money on it anyway.
Yeah,
Where
exactly. It's
people get
not.
in trouble is they try to monetize something that's copyrighted, and then they push it in a way that's not quite fair use, and the system lets them get away with it for a little while, and then next thing you know, you've got a lawsuit on your hands, or they just remove all the videos or whatever, you know. um but yeah, his layering, talking about layering streams where you start with 3 and then drop 1 and add another streaming source or whatever, that's effective if you can swing it. But swinging from YouTube with 20, 30 people in chat over to Rumble, where it says you have 156, but only one person's over there going, hello, hello, hello. I swear it says there's
Well,
people
see,
here. Are
sometimes
you people?
it's weird. It is a
That would
weird
freak me
user
out more than any.
interface. I'll admit. It's a very weird user interface over there. Because there's a lot of times, like the guy I watch, it takes me a minute to get his live feed to pop up because sometimes there's issues with it. But if you can do it, because it said he drops the link, and a lot of the YouTube crowd just goes from there over to the Rumble side of it, anyways. So
Yeah, this is why I think it's hard to avoid the monopoly problem with tech, because it's like, who wants to be on the number two, like, video site when you can just be on the number one where everyone else is, right?
Yeah.
I would much rather have a functional second site that allows me to
yeah,
do some things I can't do on
exactly.
YouTube. Functionality is the issue. It's not
Mhm.
quality. Rumble's got all the quality you could want, but it's very reminiscent of like 2012 or 2008 YouTube, where you have to manually go in and look for everything you're looking for. Whereas modern YouTube just caters to you. You go to your For You page and there's all your crap and other crap, just like the crap you watch.
Yeah, I remember,
I have
early
a For
YouTube
You
when you
page
had
on
to
my
like
Rumble
really
app.
be good at searching to find the video you wanted.
Oh yeah, you had to have the keywords just right.
Hmm. And there wasn't
Most
nearly as much
definitely.
stuff uploaded. Now you can find almost any scene from any show on YouTube. And it's like, if you wanted to find, oh, what's that scene in The Office, so I can like link it here. They didn't even have most of the scenes on The Office yet. Now The Office uploads a bunch of their scenes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that a lot of that's handled by in-house people. And back in the old days, though, it would be, the floor editor would be the guy who would do that stuff
Hmm.
because he's more familiar with all the different scenes. So someone would be like, I'm looking for a scene from The Office. He'd be like, which one? Hold on, here, I got all these. And uploaded
Hmm.
2 dozen, 3 dozen, maybe scattered across 50 channels. Tell you what, everybody should go get you a camp kit and just keep it around just in case, bro. That shit was a lifesaver.
I have a camping chair. It's in the trunk of my car.
That's not a bad start, but I'm just saying, one of them like 12-piece little $60 boxes with like 3 plates, 3 cups, coffee
Yeah,
pot,
oh, I have
bowl,
all that. Because my kids are
one of
all
the,
in scouts. My wife's the scout leader. Fuck, man, we got so much camping shit. It's not even
sure.
fucking funny.
But listen, this stuff becomes amazingly useful when the power goes out, right?
Yes, we busted out many times in the winter.
I
well,
would rather have this bit better.
geez, uh, couple, uh, about a year, yeah, last winter, the power went out, and me and the wife were at work or whatever, and our oldest daughter, she's 15. She she never started. I mean, she started the fire for the scouts, but as far as at the house in the wood stove, I never let her mess with it, right? Well, power went out, and I come home and there was a fire going. I go, who built the fire? She goes, I did. She goes, I took my flint and stuff, and she goes, I built the fire just like if I was out
Man,
in the woods somewhere. I go, way to go, girl. I go, at least I know you're using what you're learning.
that's
So
based.
Well, I've had this stuff sitting around here since we got married. That's almost 20 years I've had this stuff packed up, sitting patiently aside. And
So
occasionally
you
she'd
wrote
post,
it out. Y'all stayed where you were.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm in a brick house with a metal roof. If it gets my shit, it's going to really mess up the rest of the world around me. It's going to seriously mess it up. And it did. Don't get me wrong. Uh, it mostly though, I mean, the wind was pretty rough. We've got millions of trees down. I'm one of maybe 700 people in this county that has power. And I'm astounded I have internet. That's why I came up here, is because I didn't really believe it would carry it.
Oh,
But
I
here
can
I
get
am.
the paddleverse.
Right. Well, no, it wasn't so much that. I mean, I figured it would take longer for a stable internet to be put together. I mean, right now, our wires down the road right here, like 400 yards away, are held together by ticky tack and zip ties.
Oh,
I don't know, dude. I'll put it this way. You've got a natural disaster when the Waffle House closes.
and the
yeah,
Walmart
yeah.
too. That's how. Well, yeah.
Walmart
My mom's
closed.
like, you wouldn't believe the destruction here. The restaurants, the mall, even the Walmart is closed. I'm like, oh no, now I know it's bad. They can't even get to Walmart.
Well, at one point when I first, all right, so the morning after I got up, and because there was no traffic on my street, and I am on the main street in town, I was a little concerned. I hadn't seen a truck in 3 hours, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. So I climbed in the truck and I rode half a block in one direction and came across a couple of trees across the road, power lines everywhere on the ground. Rode half a block in the other direction, and two the street lights and um, like street lamps, not the highway lights, but two of them.
Kane, I got a question
Oh,
for what Kane said. I don't want to cut you off, but
Oh yeah, go ahead,
those just cut
Salesforce.
off.
I can leave it up. Go ahead.
yeah. Well, what does he mean by it'll be co-opted by the establishment? Like, I know
Oh, they
he
get
told
bought out.
Kane if you, yeah, that's one thing. I just want to know, like, if he has other things in mind or if he sees it
Well,
as,
they'll force it. They'll force it by the same way they took down, what was it, Parlor, Gab, both of them. So Parlor refused to
Parlay.
acknowledge any.
Sorry, go ahead.
You have a glitch. It's okay. Uh, Parler refused to acknowledge the whole concept of the upper echelon of big tech, the oligarchs of corporate technology, right? They just wouldn't play ball with them at all. And they did it by mainly keeping everything from being consolidated in under any particular umbrella until they went for the Amazon servers, which were the cheapest at the time. And I personally think Amazon dropped their prices in that time period in hopes of picking up Parler so that they could shoehorn them into a position of either playing ball or being nuked from orbit. And that's essentially what happened when it was all said and done. Parler wouldn't play ball, so it got co-opted through other means.
That sounds like just business, like
It
politics or
it is
competition.
business. You're not wrong there, but it is business specifically designed to maintain a monopoly. That's nefarious.
Well, that's why the government keeps going after 'em
Oh, do
for the
they? But
monopoly. But
I remember.
I think it was Joe that was saying that's not they're not
You
doing it
remember
like they're not if they were as serious as they pretend they would be doing much more. So
yeah,
not to
there's a,
be
that's
fooled
what I
by
was
the
going to say.
fact
The
that they're
Southern Bell fiasco. Y'all remember Southern Bell when
hmm
Ma Bell got broke up?
I do
All right,
remember Ma Bell.
they're not doing that. They run over that company roughshod with a whole bunch of whipping boys. They didn't even break stride on their way through. They were like, nope, this is a monopoly. It's done. And they ended it there.
Yeah.
3 months later, there was no more Ma Bell. John,
Yeah, you're
AT&T
right.
chopped into
Where is
150
that
different
happening?
companies. That's not happening in this case. Whenever we have a Title 42 or a whatever it is, I can't remember the number, but one of them 230 violations take place, suddenly we land in monopoly territory. Not a single aspect of the monopoly bill has been enacted against any of these.
Maybe the U.S. is just becoming more tolerant of monopolies. That's just a trend of the future.
we are inclusive of monopolies these days.
Yes.
Next thing
And
you know,
as
you're
long
going
as
to have
like I don't see
fashionable approach
anybody in a rush to
monopolies.
leave Amazon. As long as monopolies are making our lives more convenient, we're probably going to continue to tolerate them.
But no, it has to go the route of Southern Bell. It's going to. It has to. YouTube. Okay, first of all, Google occupies 98% of the search share. So when you're talking about people going online to search something, 98% of people, 99 in America, go immediately to Google. And so Google has become the arbiter of truth before all men. And that is not acceptable in
Well,
my opinion.
what do you mean? Like just from search results?
Just for search, yes, with no other. Okay, here's your choice. You can get in your car, go to your library, get a library card, go in there, use the card catalog, find the book in question, hunt down the details that you're looking for, or you can reach in your pocket and pull out a phone that will automatically search Google anytime you search anything. and the only results you receive are the ones Google approve of. That's true on YouTube. That's true
Like
on
they're
most.
gatekeeping, but like when I use Google, I still get the results I need. They lead me to sources that the same sources I would pull up at a
No,
library to give me the
Does
not
information.
necessarily.
anybody remember Bing when they tried to make
Right.
Bing a
I
big thing?
Yeah,
still I use Bing.
I do remember
I'm
Bing.
on Bing right now. I use Bing.
I hate
It's still
anything
there.
Microsoft. I don't touch it.
But what you get when you search Google is Google approved results. You
Well,
go
I don't know
in,
what that means though,
you
because all
finish,
I get is like
let me
links
finish.
to other sites that are not Google, and those sites are the ones with the sources on them. And so Google's not
Sure.
really giving me the sources themselves; they're just giving me
I think I
act like
kind of understand what he's saying. I mean, Google really does have a monopoly as far as like when you go to
Search
search
results
something, you
specific.
don't say I'm gonna go to Yahoo and search it. I'm not gonna go Bing it. I'm gonna
I'm gonna go
Google it.
Google
right.
it.
I don't care who gives me my search result. That's not the issue. The issue is they have all the search data.
But
They
Google's
know
kind
what
of like one of
everybody's
them
been
companies
searching
that
the
has their
last
fingerprints
30
on
years
everything, though. Like, you
more
know
than
what I
anybody
mean?
else. So they have all of these profiling data on the users in a way that no other
Okay.
company
So
does.
there's a whole bunch of stuff that Google refuses to touch, just in general. Like there's a lot of specific words and whatnot that that if you put into Google, it just ignores it as a search parameter. Um, I
But
can't really
what information
can't
are
say
these
the
other sites
words.
giving you that Google's like? Like I'm interested in what this suppressed information is because it would be easy to find. Like Google's
It
not the only
it
search engine out
typically
there.
it isn't, but 99% of your responses are going to be derived through a Google search, either from the source from the phone that you're searching or the site that you go to and then search on that site for specific things will also source to Google. And it
But
comes down to
I mean, they're
money.
gonna go.
Let's skip the information for a moment. The money. AdSense, the whole concept of this particular monopoly case that's on the fly right now has to do with Google upgrading their ads versus other people's ads, right? So anyone who's Google friendly utilizes Google AdSense. I think it's AdSense. Pretty sure it's AdSense. They get a higher rating than someone who has purchased into the same ad bars, right, through other sources. And so you have to deal with Google in order to advertise on any of the Google related sites. That's the issue. It's not so much the information. The information is available if you're willing to dig hard enough to
yeah,
get
so
past
people
the
need to take accountability and
approved
responsibility for
results.
like their own information instead of like
Sure.
expecting tech companies to babysit and spoon feed them information. Maybe it's
Agreed.
because I worked at a library, but when I'm looking for information, I know what I'm looking for. I know how to find it. When I find it, I take responsibility for my information consumption. And so I'm in
True.
charge of if I'm getting the information I need. I don't leave that up to Google. Google's
Unless
just a tool I use in the process.
unless Google is the only tool you use in that process. You seem to be spreading your searches around a little bit in different
I
directions.
don't even
That makes
use Google. I
sense
use
to me.
DuckDuckGo mostly.
Okay, fine. But the 99% of the people in America who want to know something, they Google it.
And
And
is the fear that they're missing essential information that way because Google is preventing them from seeing information that would be important?
if here's the thing, dude, Jeff, I would love to have this conversation with you on a more specific and topical note, but mentioning some of the things that that I'm talking about would probably get your channel at least
Now I'm even more
touched.
curious. Here, I'm
I'm
gonna
just
see if I
saying,
can Google.
it's just some words that YouTube doesn't like that's mixed in there, and YouTube doesn't like them because they
Oh,
are
I trust you.
alphabet.
Definitely don't do anything to jeopardize the channel. So I
Yeah,
defer to you
we're
on
just
that.
going to skip it. We'll stick with the money. Okay. We're going to skip the information, misinformation, disinformation concept around this. We're going to go straight to the money. Okay. Just skip all the rest of it because that's there. It's a thing, but it's really hard to discuss on YouTube. We can talk about the money
Actually, Wikipedia has a whole article on censorship by Google, so I'm gonna look at that too.
because, you
Man,
know, oh
like
my
it
God.
looks like maybe some like certain political information they may be.
See, that's part of the issue,
de-emphasizing.
but I don't want to get into that. I'm telling you, YouTube really doesn't like that topic because they're direct descendant of Google. They're both owned by Alphabet, so
They don't
you
like
know
us talking about
they
that.
don't
That's
like this topic at all, and I'd rather not cause that sort of damage if at all
okay.
possible. Yeah, I don't want you to look back 6 months from now and be like, "You remember that one where we had that? Hey, I got a strike on that 2 months later." It'd be like that.
Not lies. I'm sure you're trying to be helpful here, and maybe if I look that up, it'll be good.
That's my favorite team purple right there, bro.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Like that, it seems like if this was happening, there'd be a website out like, here's all the stuff Google doesn't want you to know. Look at all the website, and so, and I'm sure
Look,
that's out
how
there.
would
I'm
you
gonna look
find it?
for it
How would you find it?
from some other site. Like
What site?
I
Now,
I
mean,
don't
Google
believe
ultimately is
that
an
if there's a
algorithm. They're gonna take
conspiracy to
the.
present to suppress information through search engines, I don't believe that's one that it's very possible to successfully execute long term on a large scale.
so you think that a single tech oligarch who owns 99% of the search results in the
Does not
US
have the power you think he has. Yes, I do think that.
wouldn't suggest perhaps we do certain things that benefit the bottom line? It
I'm in
doesn't
control of what I
necessarily.
do, though, not a tech oligarch. He can
You are
suggest all he
all
wants.
the way up until
So,
you hit search. That's when you lose your control over what you're looking at. When
I've
you hit that
never
search
not been
enter,
able to find the information I need. Like
you
this is just
find
a big. Like I said, I
information.
worked at a library. This is just a big card catalog. I
I
know how
worked at
to
a library too,
navigate
bro. It
and
is a
find
large card
information.
catalog. But if you worked at a library, then you noticed when there were missing cards in the Dewey Decimal System, correct?
Like when there were books but with no cards.
No, when there were cards or when there were books, but the cards weren't in the stack, not in the back, but in the actual
Well, we
card.
had a system for that because if those anomalies happened, they had a whole department that would make
Sure,
new
that's
car
what
or
I'm getting at.
correct and make sure the catalog matched
So
the
you have
shipments.
control over what you choose to search, and you have control over how you choose to search it. The point you lose control at is when you choose to search it on Google and hit enter. At that point, you are only privy to the information Google puts in front of you. You can scroll down,
Yeah, but
and
that
you'll find
information so far has been sufficient. Like I don't feel like I've missed anything. It's served my needs, and so I'm
feeling.
curious what they're holding back from me.
I am too. I'm hugely curious. I know there are videos that are extant that don't exist in the Google algorithm that I can't go find through Google, can't find it through DuckDuckGo. I have difficulty finding them through Bing, and I can't put them up on YouTube
It's those
because
oligarchs. What don't they want us to know?
how things actually work. I got one. Hold on. This requires an actual tinfoil hat.
I'll give
Ghost
you an
stories.
example. This is way back in the day.
Wait,
All
hang
right.
on. This
Does
this
anybody
This is going to be
remember,
good.
like in 2005, 2006, when that reporter got beheaded by the terrorist overseas? Does anybody remember that when that
Oh,
happened in the year
Khashoggi.
2000? When the American journalist got beheaded?
Yes, yes, yes. Khashoggi.
So, look, so my biology class, we got curious about the video. Don't know why, but we got curious. We tried to search that for that video, couldn't find it. Then we got on to Netscape, right? Use Netscape. Search through Netscape. We found the video. We were watching the video as our instructor walked into the class. That was the last day he ever taught school, unfortunately. It
So
was such a bad video that it drove him batty.
Oh,
I
like
This
noticed
is the
something.
United States
but
government.
you were able to find the video.
You were
Take
able to
off
find the
the hat.
video, but we couldn't do it through Yahoo, and Google was really just starting
Yeah,
then.
and there's the dark web and all that other stuff for people that really need to find shit.
This
So
is the
I'm not
United States
worried that
government.
people are not getting their information needs
The
met.
biggest thing about Google is
If they're
Google
not, it's
filters
user
out
error.
it filters out the and puts up the top 5 to 10 websites first. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then if you have your sponsored ones, the
I
companies
usually
that
don't need
pay,
more than that.
they'll put the sponsor ones, and then but when you look up like an individual or something, most of the time it's tied into Wikipedia, and Wikipedia half the time's not even credible. Like, you know what I mean? So,
I find Wikipedia very helpful.
well, I mean, it is
They have a lot
helpful,
of primary
there is,
sources all in one place
but
that
there
I
is a
could
lot of
follow.
misinformation on it too. So
Right,
sometimes,
that's why people need to be educated because that's the
well,
ultimate.
that
That
is
is the
true.
ultimate and best solution. So any solution other than that is less effective as, of a solution. So I'd rather focus on
Exactly. That's why you
where
cross
people have the
reference.
most potential to be effective in this problem,
I
and
was
that
always
is their
taught you cross
the
check the
internal
sources.
locus of control.
You know, you always got
I
to
gotta
find
bounce.
something.
I'll be back if you're still alive.
Oh, okay, take care, Sasquatch. Hope
I want to
everything's.
thank Sasquatch for taking the tinfoil hat off. We've been trying to reach him all morning.
Oh, well, he made it in. It seems like there's things going on, so hope everything's okay. But yeah, check in again.
So how you doing, Jeff?
Oh, that's a thing on.
Oh,
I thought this guy, Mr. Accord Joe, I thought he had a mohawk, but that's definitely something on his mantle behind him.
Oh
oh,
no, I don't have a mohawk.
that's his
I
unicorn
was looking
horn.
on my phone because I'm on my phone, so not a really big picture. So I was like, oh hey, mohawk. And then he moved his
Well,
head. And he didn't
not
move.
laws. That is their choice because they certainly can know things if they choose to, and they certainly could have principles and act on them if they choose to. So I assume if individuals are not this, it's not because they are stuck being that. It's because they choose to be that way, and they could make choices otherwise. Is how I see it.
Speaking of
Like
mohawks,
that's the empowered way to look at it, and you're
Leggy,
giving us
look at
the
my
victim way to
avatar.
look at it.
Leggy, now my avatar is a mohawk.
And a pretty cool
What
mohawk, I
what
would say.
happened to Leggy?
He's here.
No, he ain't.
Oh, well, he's probably doing something. You being
So
real.
so Jeff, today I was driving by this prison, and as I'm driving by, I see this midget crawling down the wall, and I thought, well, that's a little condescending.
I got that one.
Every once in a while, I hit you with a
Because
bad
you had
dad
me, like,
joke.
I'm like, I could totally see Zach driving by a prison. Yeah, all that's real. Looking up at the wall.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry for the bad jokes.
Oh, no, we probably needed that. I'm still fascinated what. Because when I Google to see what, it's stuff like political information. There's stuff about Trump they're trying to hide. There's stuff about
Oh man.
politics they're trying to hide.
All I know is I keep seeing commercials on TV all the time for Kamala, but not for Trump. I thought they were supposed to have equal time.
I don't even watch TV. I think it's whoever pays, like
Yeah.
that pays to have that aired.
Well, somebody's putting money behind Kamala then.
I heard it was you.
Yeah, I put my entire fortune. What I
That is
did
the
was
mole.
I went
I
to the
thought
casino.
you're Harris for breadlines. I thought you were all about that. Harris for
The what?
breadlines.
For
Harris
who?
for breadlines.
Oh,
For
Harris
who?
for breadlines? Yeah.
Oh, breadline.
Yeah, we'll all be in a goddamn breadline if she gets
Look,
elected because
look. If we use her logic, right, and what she was saying during the debate, that it's the Republicans that the economy crashes after Republicans in office, right?
yeah,
So we're going to
bullshit.
see. We've had 4 years of Biden, so therefore, we should see if she wins. We within the first year, we should see the effects of his economy, right? They should take
Yeah.
in effects if all this inflation's because of Trump. So now we should see, right? Is
Because of
that
COVID mostly.
I
They've
mean,
been in
it
power for
was
four
really
years. What
COVID.
have they
It
done?
was the pandemic, not necessarily Trump, because our economy was doing well until the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and then fucking all hell broke loose.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Trump's fault.
No,
Who
I mean,
know?
what are you supposed to do when you got trucks sitting for fucking weeks, or you got
Yeah,
ports where ships can't come in and out, or like you got shit that happens in Baltimore where a whole shipping lane's destroyed for fucking months on end? Like,
yeah.
come on.
Dude, we couldn't get processors from China for months.
I couldn't
You
even
know,
get
or
quarters to do laundry.
I mean, you
not.
think about that. The price of grain and rice went up and all that shit once Russia invaded Ukraine. Like the food export and all that shit just started to, it really got fucked with. And then eventually they go, well, you can't really mess with the export of food and all that. So, but, but essentially, I mean, yeah.
I don't know, man. That all I know is times were better, at least like from the, and Joe will maybe agree with this. Things were a little bit more. I don't know. Things were moving more in the stock market when Trump was president. It's like now it's kind of, it got stale for a little while, didn't it? Where things weren't as up and down as they were.
No, I was there for a while there. I was following the stocks for quite a while, but I haven't for at all. Actually, this year at all, I haven't followed them at
Well,
all.
we have a stock guy right here that could
That's
tell
what
you.
Yeah.
I was asking him.
Um, I mean, the main things that affected the market, but from when Trump took office to after, is um, the Fed started to raise interest rates a little in like 2019, because they had been low for a long time, and then the market started to go down, so they put rates close to zero again. Then they started to raise them slowly. I think they got them to about 2%. By the time COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, they put them back down to zero. COVID, of course, hurt the market for most of 2020. Then the COVID stimulus created a bull market that peaked in 2021. And then because of that, the Fed had to raise rates again because it was leading to inflation. That combined with the war in Ukraine causing an energy crisis and um, disrupting food supplies from the grain exports that would have been coming from Ukraine. Um, and then that created some issues with the market as well. So a
Uh,
lot of it hasn't been, in my view, too tied to either of the presidents, but you could maybe argue that the Russian invasion of Ukraine
oh
um,
yeah, that killed
was
everything.
something that could have been influenced by Trump being president or not at the time.
Well, if he was president and he avoided the war, then maybe things would have been a little bit better, But who knows how he could have avoided it? I don't know. But all I know is I have a friend in Japan, and he complains constantly about the price of gas going up because they get their gas from Russia, apparently. And because of the war in the Ukraine, the prices have gone up dramatically. Joe?
Oh, I was responding to another message from someone. Could you say that again?
No, I can't because I forgot what the fuck I just said.
You said since the war in Ukraine, the prices have gone up. Like China, is it China or
Oh yeah.
Japan?
No, Japan.
Get
My
their.
friend in Japan gets his gas or whatever from Russia, and the Ukraine war has created a huge price hike for him apparently because it's all he complains about.
Yeah, there was the supply situations adapted somewhat, but initially it just disrupted things so much that prices for things went up from scarcity. Um, that was true of a lot of dry bulk cargo. So the grain and iron and steel. The actual the two biggest exporters of iron after the U.S. are Ukraine and Russia. Um, so when they are at war with each other and the um, the trade route in the Black Sea gets disrupted like that, it had a big impact on prices. Then, even though the European energy supply from the Russian natural gas pipelines isn't ours, it does affect global energy prices. Um, because then they have to buy natural gas from somewhere else or other fuel sources, and then the people who are now selling to Europeans at higher prices aren't selling to the rest of the world unless they pay a higher price, and so it has that domino effect. and then prices, don't easily go back down because everyone's cost is higher. You have to increase people's wages to adjust for this, and then people don't want to take lower wages once things are cheaper. So prices have a tendency to be sticky like that. It's one of the factors of Keynes's economic theory is that prices are sticky and they're not very adaptable because wages fundamentally are sticky.
Do
If you
you think?
have, uh-huh.
No, do you think that I know you said it's not related to the presidents, but do you think that on a temporary, very temporary, short-term basis that it could be based on who's in office or who gets elected?
So there's a thing called multiple expansion, and that's basically how many times earnings you want to spend for the same fundamentals of a company. So if a company earns $10 million a year, and you buy shares of its stock at a market cap of 100 million, that's a multiple of 10, right? 100 divided by 10 is 10. If you buy the stock when it's at a market cap of $200 million, it's a multiple of 20. Same fundamentals, right? It's a business that earns 10 million, but you're just willing to pay more for it. And that would be depending on if you think the business is, likely to have more growth or maybe even decline a bit. So if you think it's going to be more of a grower, you might be willing to pay a larger multiple because in the future, it might, if you buy it while it earns 10 million now, it could be earning like 50 million in like a decade, maybe. In which case, 200 million wouldn't be a bad price. Doesn't take long to make that back. But if if it's going to stay the same or maybe not grow, you'd probably be more inclined to pay 10 million, maybe even let it go lower. And that's multiple expansion. There's not been a material change in that moment for the facts of the business. But people are basically deciding I'm willing to take a higher or lower return. For the same thing. And with Republicans, they might think that they're going to be more favorable to business, and so multiples could expand. They expect higher growth rates, so they
What
are
is
willing
that?
to pay
Let's
for
see.
growth.
That's
Uh,
marijuana,
Oh
sir.
wow, that looks
yeah.
very fresh.
That
What
that is a
strain is that?
bud. That is a bud of marijuana, and it has some red hairs in it, so it's probably pretty decent.
Nala's Aunt Jemima is way more relevant to my life than whatever neurotic doomsday imaginings you have. That's
I
why.
love how Leggy shows himself in the car with the weed. Like you can't do that because if you're driving, they'll fucking pull you over for DUI. But
What are you talking about? I'm not smoking and driving. What are you talking about?
okay, all right, that's fine then. Just show us the bud.
Well, hopefully the
I'm just
Maine
showing the
police
bud.
don't
I
watch
literally
this
just bought
stream.
it. I just bought it.
All right, how much
Bought
for
it and
an
walked
ounce or
out and
whatever
showed
you
you.
bought? How much did you buy for how much? I'm curious.
I just bought. I bought an eighth pot, a infused 1.25 pre-roll. So it
Yeah.
has. It's a gram of bud with a quarter
With
gram of dab
concentrate. Yeah, yeah,
of live resin in it,
yeah.
and a 1 gram disposable pin, and it was $100.
All right, but how much
That's a
for
lot.
the eighth?
Um, like 30
Oh my
something.
god,
How
that's
Yeah.
much?
high.
30?
Yeah, but I want a higher grade.
Yeah, yeah, it,
But
it did look high quality. I'll say
Well,
that.
and I also went to the rec shop, not the medical shop, too.
Mm.
So
oh,
my wife has her
you're
medical card, and I don't. So
you're in
I rather
Massachusetts,
see.
correct?
I rather go to the rec shop than the. I'd rather go to the rec shop than the medical dispensary because you get a better quality bud at the rec shop than you do at the med
Oh,
dispensary. Much better
isn't that
quality.
funny? Where are you? Massachusetts?
No, Maine.
Oh, Maine. Okay. Yeah, you guys have it good up there, man. You can buy 1,500 milligram chocolate bars and all kinds of shit up there.
Dude, we can buy if I can do 2,000. They give 2,000 milligram candy bars
Yeah.
in.
You see?
So,
Down where I
like in
am,
the
you
gummies, the
can
most
only
I've
get
ever seen in a single gummy is like 20 milligrams in a single gummy. But
Yeah, well, you can only get 5 or 10 milligram gummies near where I am, and you know, 10 milligrams is absolutely nothing. You have to eat, I had to eat like 40 of them just to fucking feel something. You
That's
know?
because your tolerance.
Nah, I don't know if it is anymore.
It
I
is.
mean, I wonder.
It is. If you take a break, it'll reset to. You could take 10 milligrams to get high.
I doubt that. I just have a very resistant constitution. You know?
luckily, Maine has some very. I see some of the comments. Maine has some very lax laws when it comes to marijuana. So
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds
it
like they're trying to get you
sounds like it.
busted.
Hmm.
No, everyone in Maine is so bored that they have to do something, so they let them smoke pot, and
dude,
so
I
that
sat, dude, me and my old captain, we sat there talking to a warden one day, smoking a joint. So I mean, come on now. Like literally, we were sitting in the vehicle having a conversation with the Marine warden. Like
yeah,
Let's get her up there.
so,
because
I mean,
you guys have nothing to do, right? Like there's not a lot
Maine.
of entertainment up there.
I said, well,
That's
now
what I
there's
was.
different regions
It
of
sounds
Maine.
like they could
Now
use.
I wouldn't want to go to Bangor, Maine, or Portland and try to do the shit I do in Down East Maine. Like you get my point. Down East Maine is a whole different way of life. Like down East Maine's the way life should be. Like I tell everybody that. Nobody really gives a fuck what anybody does down here. Like if you're a fucking weirdo, you get run the fuck out of town pretty quick. Like, you know.
Uh
So so
oh,
it's pretty
I'm
good.
out.
No, when I say weirdos, I'm talking about like fucking
I don't
like
believe
these
that, Leggy.
fucking
You still there?
well, I'm talking about like these cross dressing fucking let me whack my genitalia off people. These
So
people
like
that
me,
have these
basically.
radical ideas. These people pretty much liberal. If you're a liberal, you get
What? How would I do down there? Would I survive down
you'd
there?
fit right in.
Oh, I
You'd
would.
fit
Oh,
right in.
wow, that's quite. That's a lot of progress.
I think you would fit right in, Jeff. I mean, me and you get along, and I get along with everybody else down here, so you'd
Okay.
fit in.
Yeah, they
So,
sound a little rough. Good thing there's that
see,
we.
Joe sounds smart, so Joe might be the one that not to fit in.
Oh, 'cause he's too much of a nerd. Yeah,
He's
Joe would
too
be the
smart.
one
He's too
we'd have to
smart.
protect.
He'd
He's with
he'd have to
us.
make himself seem a little less intelligent to fit in around here.
It's hard.
Why are they? I have that problem too. Are they threatened by intellect?
Yes, people
Because
are.
I'm gonna have
People
the
have told me
same
this.
issue. Do you see the
Uh,
fights I get on here when I try to be smart?
and well, you know,
I,
there's
I I
always
don't know how
somebody
to like
to.
do anything about it. Like I'll just
Uh,
be chatting, and the things I say just people think it sounds really smart, and I don't know like insult people, but like somehow I just make
It's
people
their
feel
own
really
Look, it's
insecurities.
not. It has to do with the way you pronounce words, the way you state words, how fast you speak. Like that all has to play in. Like you can be the smartest person in the world and fucking talk like a fucking retard, and people gonna call you a retard.
Yeah,
Like you know what I mean?
he's
You know
right.
what I've done?
I mean,
What I've
because like me, I don't call myself stupid by no means, but because of my grammar and the way I speak, I sound way less intelligent than what I
Yeah,
really am.
over the
that's
years I've
same here.
dumbed down my speech. You know, see, I said speech, but I could have said I've dumbed down my talk over the years, right? Like so that people don't think that I'm smart because they used to get fucking weird about it.
Yeah, nerds were. Yeah, I know. I was an outcast for being a nerd. There's definitely a stigma around it in some cultures, just like with being gay or other things.
I mean, I talk in slang and I fit in by, uh, talking like a dummy, so to speak.
How would you sound if you talk smart? Give us your smart version.
Well, if I spoke more intelligently, I would use more mellifluous sounding verbiage.
So, yeah. Even my
I have a
family growing up, they would like when I was learning vocabulary, I didn't know what words were like what words to say now, and they would be like, "Why do you use all those big words? You know we don't understand that." And I'd be like, "No, I don't know what people understand it. I understand it. Why would they understand it?"
Right.
I didn't
You
know
know,
how to separate what non-smart people knew or didn't know. I
Yeah, I
it's in
just
don't
the
know
thought
what people
fucking,
everybody
know
knew
it's in the
really.
everything I did.
dictionary. Look it up, you know?
They had the same encyclopedias, the same libraries, and they went to the same schools I did. So I
They
have no way of
didn't
knowing what
read
they
them.
picked up and didn't.
They didn't read it. See, what I did was I was so bored in like third or fourth grade that I would just sit there and read the goddamn dictionary for fun. You know, like, and I learned more from that than I did from whatever they were trying to teach me.
Yeah, me too. That's autodidact.
Oh, yeah, right. Anyway, I got to drop down, Jeff, but thank you for having me again. And
Yeah, you too, Zach. We'll
see you
see you
later,
later.
Lee and Joe.
See it.
Have a good one.
The other solution is to just hang around smart people that are like you, and then you don't have that issue because you all get each
Exactly.
other. Like none of you are intimidating each other. Well, is that a wrap?
Could be. Um, I mean, I could. I mean, I'm not. I don't feel like I have to go anywhere, but people are all talked out. If they're out of big words to use for the streaming public, depends.
I have I could go like another hour, 2 hours
Yeah,
or so if people
I got
needed.
quiet there for a moment because I was getting DMs from a chick, so I have my
Oh,
attention on
you're
that.
getting Tinder, like
Not
Tinder
on Tinder
vibes.
actually. Someone I already know. I did get a couple Tinder matches, but I don't think they're very like serious. Like just looking at the profiles, haven't messaged them.
Not laws. Your purpose is to free men's minds with dogma. That's you go about your purpose in a very weird way.
Yeah, she's trying to talk me into like shaving my head and just keeping the beard.
Already? Like y'all have y'all been on a date yet? Or this is
No,
all from? Oh my God,
she's somebody
that's a
that
red flag already.
I just know online, but um I'm thinking she has a
She's
type.
looking for an image. She's not even trying to get to know you.
But she no, she's someone that I actually know from like networking about stocks. So this happens to be something that has come up. Um
What are her interests?
well, like investing as well, some games, some like history. Um like she's like a pretty normal person actually in terms of like um the stuff we've talked about. Um but recently I shared ideas with her about um things I could do for my appearance on dating apps. And
Oh, so this
so
was in
she
response to a
kind of,
specific
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
I want to address this not loss information because this is a narrative that keeps being put out a lot, and these are dummies that don't pay attention or are not interested in understanding what a person actually thinks. Never have I said this ever, ever, ever. You can find uh, multiple streams, more than you know what to do with, of me saying, acknowledging that racism exists at the individual level, in some place, some people on a very small scale. It's the systemic part that like whatever that is, this widespread racial crisis that we're in the middle. That's the part. I've never denied that racism exists. Ever, ever, ever. Quit repeating that lie. You will never find a stream of me denying that racism exists. You'll find plenty of me questioning the concept of systemic racism. Well, yeah, but Charlie, where are people? Where is that anymore? Like, Where do people go? Especially like in the gay world, there's hardly any more gay bars or anything like that. They're all mixed and queer and co-ed, and so like straight people may still have places to go, but I'm sure those options have changed a bit too. Not the most persecuted, but certainly as persecuted as any other group, as the Red Pill documentary makes very clear. You don't know what I believe. Not lies. You're in here all day, as much as I am. You're probably in here more than I am.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not freeing men's minds in there, not laws.
Concrete is racist. It's Roman. Concrete is Roman.
So it is racist.
Yeah, everything. I already know everything. Everything's racist. That's why I don't worry about it. We're all racist. Everything's
Yeah,
racist. It's like
we can't
air.
avoid it.
So what?
You got 3 weeks, so you have 3 weeks off, and you're spending
Okay.
it in Jeff's channel.
I mean, that is what this is here for. So,
Mhm.
yay, that somebody's spending their 3 weeks at my channel,
Well, here's the thing: he must be getting something out of it, right? So, um,
and all
there's
for
something of
free.
value. Mm-hmm.
Rattle, rattle, rattle. What
Maybe
does
he'll
this
even
mean? We're
become a
traded?
subscriber.
I don't. Oh,
Racists
tarded,
are traded straight up.
tarded.
Oh,
Well, none of us are racist, so that doesn't apply to anybody here.
yeah, I don't think he actually thinks anyone here is racist.
He doesn't. He's just, I think, bored.
Has he even called anyone here racist?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm like a far right Nazi racist. They
Oh,
make videos of me all the time, using clips from the show to show how racist I am.
interesting.
But it's from the hateful left, where everybody that's not as Antifa as them are Nazi racist, white supremacists.
Gotcha. It's just fascinating to me. Like I don't really think about them that much. Like I don't like go through like my daily life thinking, oh God, what about the Antifa people? But they anyone that they don't like easily just lives in their head all the time.
Yeah, yeah, very much. Their whole life is, I think it's like some kind of hero complex, and their whole life is centered around defeating this particular dragon, whatever they're taught that dragon is, or whatever
Yeah,
they
like
teach themselves.
I'm usually more worried about like, what's the next like stock I'm gonna cover? Um, and then how else do I like work on that business in other ways?
Well, because you have a life, you have
Hmm.
something productive that you're doing with yourself.
Well, I have a work life anyway. I wouldn't say I have much of a life besides that, but I don't like I still don't fill that void um with like this sense I gotta go out and get people.
Yeah, me neither. I'm very much live and let live. I always have been that way, and pretty much the people around me too. So it's kind of worked. Like you do your thing and don't bother me, and I'll do my thing and I won't bother you. But not everybody lives by that, and they're very bothered, and they
Yeah, not
bother
laws. You said you
as
got
a
you got three
result.
weeks off. Like three weeks off from what? Like what do you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. 3 weeks off from hanging out on this stream all day. I gotta give it to Notloss. He is one of our regular. He's one of our most loyal participants.
I don't know. Like he could be a rocket scientist. He could be a potato farmer. Who knows?
Yep. So something draws him here and keeps him here.
It's the fact that a warehouse for that stuff. So you're like moving inventory in the warehouse.
That's a worthy job.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not easy.
Um, if I hope to get to that point one day where I can help
Not loss
be an
has been on a
economic
quest.
factor for people. Good. And I mean that. I'm glad. I think that work should be compensated.
That reminds me of um when that news article came out about the one of like the main founders of the Black Lives Matter organization. Um,
All her
like
mansions.
yeah, she like bought a house for herself and her family in LA. People were like, "What?" And my response was like, my immediate thought was, "Well, good for her. She has a better home life now for herself
But
and
I
her
thought
family."
she bought a bunch of like a bunch of mansions.
She bought homes for her and like a bunch of her family. So like
Oh,
her siblings, her cousins. She just got her family better homes. So
yeah, really
I
nice
don't think they were
homes.
all mansions, but they were definitely like um they were pretty bourgeois homes, right? They weren't
Yeah.
like Trump mansions or something like that, but
But at least black people were getting justice. At least some, her families
but
were
I just
getting.
thought she started something that made her successful and she was able to make a better life for herself and her family. And to me that was my initial reaction to it. I was not like thinking this is the dirtiest, most corrupt thing I've ever heard. Like I've definitely heard worse, right? She bought herself a house. Okay, I'd like to buy myself a house, okay?
It wasn't just she bought herself a house. That I think that's a little bit I don't think anybody would have a problem if the founder of BLM bought herself a house. Like, oh my God, look at this nonprofit founder buying herself a house. How dare she? It wasn't that.
So I think Jeremy Eyring is talking about some of the frustration. But
$6 million
you gotta keep in
home.
mind that the BLM organization did not officially organize the riots, and that's more of the anarchist like Antifa stuff that maybe has some overlap of individuals who associate with BLM, but like the BLM like 50C4 organization did not like say, okay, let's go riot.
I know everybody on social media adopted the BLM brand as the umbrella to organize and promote these riots under. I
Yeah,
do know that.
yeah. So we're talking about the organization. It's like that she started. And so the only things we can directly attribute to her are the things that the organization itself did. Now, is there a gray area or like a blurry lines between people who are working with her? Yeah,
Well, it's associate. They allowed themselves to be associated with it, and they didn't come out and say, "Oh no, that's not us. Don't associate our name with these riots. We definitely want you to know this has nothing to do with us." They didn't do anything like that.
see,
So
look here.
in the public consciousness, they are associated with the George Floyd riots. Their name is all over it.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I mean, and in the public consciousness, like Black Lives Matter doesn't really mean Black Lives Matter literally. It means two different things
It
depending
means
on
we're
which
all
side of
racist.
it you're on. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with centrist or
But yeah.
corporatist, really.
Well, it's interesting. So we have the same take as Not Lost there. We're like, hey, the BLM organization and the movement aren't the same, but then the other half is not the same. The BLM movement is righteous. The BLM organization was co-opted by corporatists and centrists. Now, I can see how that might have happened. Um, but I think that's just sort of like a lot of movements in general. Um, if they get anywhere, they get co-opted by corporatists, and I don't know if they're centrist per se. Sometimes I think a lot of these people aren't even political, but
I don't know what this means.
um,
But whatever. When I see BLM in somebody's profile or they talk about us, I make assumptions about them now as a result of 2020. And that's my bias and my prejudice. But they have to overcome that for me to not make that assumption.
who's Glenn? Why is he a nasty boy?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Glenn.
Okay. Oh, he's that journalist that you're talking about? I don't know.
Oh,
Guy named
Glenn,
Glenn
here,
Sear?
this guy, Glenn Serio.
Yeah.
I don't know him. Okay, your opinion is noted. I've given you mine plenty of times about your stuff. Well, I guess I could wrap it up for now and do a little break. I have something to do this morning.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. A nice chill talk. And
Oh, Glenn Serio. Let me look him up.
he's a First
The
Amendment
first thing that
auditor.
comes up is a Reddit article. Whatever happened to Glenn Serio? So,
What's a First Amendment auditor?
it's these people that go around and test free speech. They like live
Oh,
stream. They
like
test the limits of free speech and
they see
live
what they can
streaming.
get away with.
Yes, yes.
I don't sense that not laws
And
is
and a lot of them use it as an
no.
excuse to troll people in public in live stream, like live
Of
trolling.
course, when I say progressive, I talk about people like Theodore Roosevelt, like not like Antifa anarchists, chest beaters.
Well, those are the modern progressives, Be-
Yeah.
and they get protected by the nonviolent ones. What? No, that's dumb. Why would you do that? I mean, you can think whatever you want when you see a rainbow. I'm not telling you what to think, and you can't really control what your brain associates with it.
What I think is interesting is that the rainbow was supposed to be all the colors, and then they just kept adding
It
to it.
was. That's because it's dummies that didn't get the original concept. They
Yeah.
just be
Well, that's
clowned
all it's
themselves with
advertising.
this new flag.
Yeah. It's interesting that it's like the normal pride flag is almost right wing by association now. You just
Yeah,
fly the
the right
normal
wing
rainbow.
pride flag.
The
But
right
well,
wing.
well, they
2024,
have one now.
baby.
I saw it on Twitter. It's a Confederate flag, but with the rainbow background instead of the red and blue.
It's like the South will rise again.
Hey, girl, we are coming. There will be a barbecue at 12 Oaks tonight. That's from Tu Wong Fu.
It's like, oh, did you see Lee at Chancellor's View? He was fabulous.
God, you do a better game than I do.
Yeah, that's because you don't put on gay airs. You put more on Louisiana airs, if
I
anything.
tried to. I don't have. I've tried to be gay, like to fit in with the gay people. I tried. I tried to do the like girlfriend, miss thing. All the. I could not pull it off. It just did not come naturally to me. Because there's a like some gay people, they had like like a working life persona, but when they'd show up at the gay bar, they'd slip into like this gay persona, and it was more feminine and manner. And I
Hmm.
didn't. I never had one of those. I never had one of those I could slip into.
I think it's probably better if gay people don't like act gay. It's probably better for gay people in the long run if that doesn't happen.
Well, now I think it's acting trans or acting queer. I don't even know if
Oh
they're
yeah, yeah,
act because
that's
gay
the
is
thing.
associated with cis gay patriarch now. Like just ordinary gay men are seen as part of the patriarchy. They're like they might as well be straight men.
That is crazy to me
I
that
know.
that has happened. I just what we it's a sign of the clown world in which we live. I would have never imagined that being the case when I was like a kid and there was the gay rights movement happening. Just
No,
it's
me
interesting
neither.
how much people on the left are
But that's what they do.
potentially.
Every time you get success and you move your category out, you're no longer oppressed. Then you join the oppressor category by default, and you become a target at that point. It happened.
Well,
It's happened with the Jews. It happened with the gays. It happened with black men.
oh,
They
I
were
get
all
it,
they
not
were
laws. Like
oppressed black people until the male issues came up, and then they were evil men just like all the other men.
yeah, I understand not laws because the default is that if you see a random dude, you think he's a straight guy, and so yeah, I get why gay people would take on strategies to signal themselves to other gay people. Some of them are even very subtle, like way back in the day.
And they used to have to.
Yeah, it's for safety as well. So like the, one code phrase was, "Are you a friend of Dorothy?" Which was an interesting thing I learned. Um, So yeah, it's that much I get, but I think if I can explain my point, maybe didn't pick up on this. I just think gay people, it would probably be easier if they didn't have to do that, and they could kind of just act like their normal selves.
I
And
think for some of them that is their normal self.
that's possible as well. It's possible that maybe part of why they're gay is like, I guess, what, like hormones in the womb and stuff, and the way their brain is wired, and then it makes them more inclined to act like that. Could be. But then there are like gay guys who are like these rugged steel mill workers that act the same, but they're gay. So who knows?
And not laws, nobody peacocks more than a straight male. I promise you. What are they doing in public
Yeah,
schools?
it's true. Like I started growing out my beard recently because a chick suggested it. So it's like I'm like, I might as well. Let's try something else. It does not cost me any money to grow out this beard.
Yeah, no,
So
it look good depending on what look. Are you going for a look that expresses you, or are you going for a look that makes you attractive to the ladies, and it doesn't necessarily have to reflect who you are?
the beard idea was on the idea of attracting the ladies. I mean, I normally go clean shaven, do a military cut. Um, but yeah, I figured I'd switch it up.
Yeah, I
I've
mean it
never been
does look good. It
too.
does give you like more of a masculine, like ruggedness.
Yeah. Part of my fear though is that the odds of attracting some chick with daddy issues increases if I have a beard. I can't help but
You're
wonder
right.
if
It
it'll be
will.
a magnet for that.
It will. It's definitely a daddy. More of a daddy look. You're
Yeah, and then I
more
have to think
moving
like,
into the
well,
daddy territory.
what's the balance I want to
But
strike?
the other, if you don't have the beard, you're gonna pull the motherly types that want somewhat that they're gonna infantilize you and see you as somebody to raise and
Well,
nurture.
what's more likely is I just don't pull anybody, but I guess we're like in the very sliver that's being pulled. Which one
Find a
is it?
find a girl dealing with the same things you are that's trying to project a complementary image, and then y'all might balance each other out. Like she's worried about being too mommy, but also worried about being too like innocent ingenue that needs
Mhm.
protecting and man raising. I guess find someone with the same insecurities and complex as you have.
Mhm. The best beard is that of T Army guy. Shameless
No
race is an
idea.
interesting point. I don't know what the other issues would be though. So whatever they may be, I don't know what category that would be.
Oh.
If you know of other issue categories, shameless, um, yeah, like let us know what they are. I mean, Jeff was
I,
saying whatever I don't know how I would describe what you said. Well, like with a single label like daddy issues.
also, I find if you're just being yourself, like you're being authentically who you are, and if you're attracting for the long term, people are going to be drawn to that more than anything else if they're looking for a real person. So just that's why I just be myself, and I don't worry about all this other stuff because I want someone that's going to want somebody that's my real self that I could be that around them. And so I just go ahead and give them that early and filter all the people that don't respond to that. And a lot of times when you are doing that, that alone is attractive enough to people to draw the right people. You talk about me or Joe? I wouldn't say with Joe it's emotional maturity. I would even say that with me, but I would say it's there's definitely personality traits, and I would also say if you leave out the autism, which has always been there, they're way more pronounced after the PTSD, like post trauma than pre trauma. So some of it I think is the PTSD, like the personality or the effects PTSD has on a personality. Like so, a lot of the negative personality elements I think were exacerbated by the PTSD. So it would have to be somebody that's understanding of trauma and neurodivergence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
I I don't get the feeling Joe is looking at women that way at all, and I'm definitely not.
Yeah,
But
I think.
even if some men are, I think some women are also doing it to men, like they objectify men. So what? They're adults. If that's what the basis of their relationship is, it's not a moral issue. If the woman is okay with it, the man is okay with it. How is it not Laz's business?
Yeah. Well, I think not laws has a tendency just to pick up um on like false positives, just because he seems to have a very rigid framework for viewing things that shows out in most of his comments. Um,
What's going on?
Yeah,
Sorry, my
post
phone
traumatic
overheated.
growth. Do
okay,
what?
I understand that better now, Shameless.
Yeah, this is very common. I even get it. What's up, Leggy?
Fucking, an iPhone that just overheated.
Oh,
You know,
oh, that's what
gotta wait
happened.
for it to cool down. Gotta
Those
love it.
damn Apple products.
And then my car stalled out and didn't want to start. I don't know what the fuck happened to that. It had like a moment where it stalled out and just, I was like, what the
Man,
fuck? And
all
then
your
it's like,
technology is failing today.
and then it
Societal
started up like it
collapse.
was nothing.
So Shameless, do you know of women that have that dominating aspect, and have you noticed that they tend to pursue men who have a meeker appearance, like let's say being clean shaven?
What are you all talking about, Joe?
Well, you were initially talking about this thing called peacocking, which is a way of sort of advertising yourself to mates. That's what it was referring to in context of gay people. And then Jeff said, um, "Well, I think everybody peacocks." And I said, "Yeah, that's why I grew out my beard. I, grew it out on the suggestion of a chick I was talking to." And then we just from there we just started talking to like um, what forms of peacocking work on which people and why. And so there's two
Okay.
camps. One is that if you look more, let's say, masculine with like a beard, for example, you might be attracting girls with daddy issues. But then Jeff and Shameless countered that um, women who go after a guy who's more clean shaven and who looks maybe softer or delicate, um, that they might have this like motherly dominating issue instead of a daddy issue. And so you can attract two types of negative personalities, depending on
Well,
which look you use. And you're kind of there's no way to avoid attracting someone who has some sort of pathological issue, I guess is the point they're making.
well, I mean, then you have the cases though. How do you explain? Well, I guess what would it be? For like when you get a guy that's a fat ass, like complete slob, but yet he's pulling a fucking at least a solid eight, for a woman. How the hell? How do you explain that shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is that because they want a big teddy bear to cuddle with? Like, is that like what type of issues? Like, how would you explain that? I guess or classify that.
My guess there is that he's probably like a programmer or something and makes a lot of money, and so he's a very safe bet for a woman.
And that's usually what my mind goes to too, is that he must have some money. Either he has some money or he's hung like
Or
the fucking Empire State Building, one of the two.
you're seeing them now, and when they first met, he was in better shape, and then he gradually got fatter. That's also a possibility.
That is possible, I guess.
Which I've noticed that women seem less likely to leave a man who gradually gets fat, whereas I think men will, if their wife gradually gets fat, they will lose attraction to her entirely a lot. Like once a woman has made up her mind on a man, I've noticed that it's very difficult for him to ruin his attractiveness. You have to really get through that barrier. But
Until he
uh,
gives her enough kids.
yeah, because I think women with relationships, it feels like they're much more likely to sort of see things with a sunk cost fallacy. Like they put so much into a guy, they have to make it work. Whereas guys are much more likely to be like, I'm so fucking tired of this bitch. I need to go away. Um, and um, so the more
That's how I
that
felt about my wife yesterday. She needed to go the fuck away for a minute.
Whoa, what happened?
Oh, she was just fucking. Yesterday, I got in off. Yesterday was my birthday, and I get in
Oh,
off the
happy birthday.
boat, and she was just. And we were supposed to go to Bob Marley, the comedian, last night, which we did go. By the way, absolutely positively funny. If you've never listened to Bob
N-
Marley, the comedian,
No,
I
never heard
suggest
of
you
him.
do.
I'm looking him up now.
Have you ever watched Boondock Saints, the movie Boondock Saints?
I think so, vague, like from way
He's
back.
the he's the he's the detective in the is it Connie or Connerly or whatever in the Boondock Saints. He's the one that the guy that from the Spider-Man movie there. He's the one that goes, "Hey, go get me a coffee," he and a donut or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's that guy. It's
I'm
yeah.
watching him now. Lucky he sounds like you.
Dude, Brian Marley, Uncle Bobby's fucking funny as all hell. Dude, last night he had this bit. He was talking about, so he was picking on this young kid. He was only 22 and his girlfriend. They've been together for 6 months. He was picking on him up front. And he goes, the kid's name was Keaton, right? Keaton. He goes, now Keaton, he goes, you don't know nothing about the balls dropping yet. He goes, but when you get older, your balls and nuts drop. And he goes, eventually you'll be walking around. He goes, and he takes the microphone, right? Puts the microphone between his legs and then starts walking, slapping it off his legs. He goes, this will be you. He's like, you know what I mean? Just the way he was doing it. It was absolutely positively hilarious.
Well, that sounds like a good night for your
I'm
birthday.
telling you, you gotta watch it, man. Byron Malley, the comedian, is fucking funny
Y-
as hell.
Yeah, I haven't pulled up. What happened to make the night go wrong?
Well, the night went fine afterward. It was the initial. I got home and she just fucking. Uh, she's a very negative person at times, and
Even on your
I
birthday?
come in the house and I look at her
How
and
does
I go,
she
"Are
ruin
you?"
her husband's birthday?
Well, I mean, same way she ruins every fucking important day. She gets
What
a
did she
fucking
do last night?
look.
Like you came in
Every
from work
Sunday,
and she's like, "Happy fucking birthday, honey. Here's your fucking cake."
I didn't even get a fucking cake. What are you
Oh my
talking
god.
about,
Okay. She's
dude? I
that's how
woke up
she's doing.
yesterday morning, walked out the door, gave her a kiss. She never said a fucking word. I was on the boat working. She sends me a text message. Happy birthday, baby. Well, yeah, that would be nice to hear before I left the fucking house. But I guess, yeah, whatever. Like, so I just say thank you, I just go, thank you, love you too, whatever. Let it be. Then I get home and I'm looking around, looking around. Finally, I go, where the fuck is my cake you make me every year? Right? She
What'd
goes,
she
I
say?
didn't fucking feel like it this year. I go,
What?
well, good. I don't fucking feel like doing anything for you either.
Well, it's good that you had a comedy show planned for the
Oh
night.
man.
What? That this sounds like stuff a woman would complain about. That I'm thinking of. It's weird hearing a man like this be important to guys too.
Dude, I tell you what, with my wife, uh, all right, so I find it ironic. So for 5 years, the first 5 years we lived in the town we lived in, she never worked. She did not have to work. I made enough money that that she didn't have to work, right? Well, then we had the extra kid and shit, the extra mouth to feed. Inflation shit went up, like the electricity bill. My light bill's gone up 40% since I've lived here, since I first moved down here. You know what I mean? My light bill was like $200 a month, and now my light bill is like $350 a month. It's fucking ridiculous.
Those are
You know what I
Vegas
mean?
prices.
Just because they raised it. My rent went from $550 a month to $700 a month. So like a bunch of shit happened. Like we had a car that it broke down. Had to take what we had in savings, go buy a new car. Like all these shit played into it was the fact that she had to go get a job, right? To help get us out of the hole that we had got ourselves into.
Mm-hmm.
Now she bitches because she makes a third of what I make, but she's working way more hours a week than I do. So when I sit at home, say I work 2 days and then like I got like 2 days off. The first day I'll sit at home do nothing. Like I'll pick up a little bit, I'll do a couple dishes, but I don't do nothing. I use it as a day to rest. That second day I'm off, that's the day I'll do all the shit I got to do outside or in the house, whatever it may be. No, no, no. It's it's well, you need to go get another job. What? Well, it's not fair that you're home while I'm at work.
Oh my
Do you
God.
realize I just worked 2 days and I just made $2,600 fucking dollars in 2 days? Like, how the fuck is that? Why would I go get another job?
But
Like,
emotionally and or subjectively, it's not fair to her. There's some kind of injustice to it in her feelings.
exactly. Even though it's the same work I've done my since we've been together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes no sense to me. She's a very, she's a very difficult person at times, very negative, and it's one of them nature versus nurture type things. Her mother, her mother, because I think I told you that my wife's stepdad's younger than us, right? So she grew up in a very toxic relationship with her mother and father. So I can just assume some of the shit she says to me is some of the shit her mother used to say and do to her father. Like, you know what
Oh
I
yeah,
mean?
probably so.
Like it's one of them cycles.
Yeah.
It's like something that she shouldn't freak out about, she freaks out about. And then there's other shit that she should freak out about, she just kind of lets it go, lets it like, and acts like it's no big deal. I'm like, what the fuck? What world do you even live in? Because
Well,
obviously we're not on the same wavelength here.
I know that's kind of important for a marriage.
I go, come on here. Something's got to give. But then everything was all good and dandy, and I got some good booty last night for my
So your
birthday.
birthday went okay though after y'all did the comedy show and the night
Oh yeah.
recovered. Did you get your
I just
cake?
think, huh?
Did you get your cake?
Well, I got some type of thing.
Oh, okay. That's all right. Well, good. I'm glad
That's a
you had a
funny
good
story
birthday.
though, Leggy. Um, you have to get a job, not because the job is necessary, but because she just did all this work and she feels like it's only fair to her if you're out working more and exhausting yourself. That's
Exhaustion. Well, I'm
She
fucking
wants you to see as
16 hours
tired,
a
be
day.
as
When
tired and
I do
miserable as
go, I'm
she
16
is.
hours on the boat. I mean, really, in the long end, I just have more days off in a week than her. Hours wise, I think I work just as many hours. Because, I mean,
that's just so
I get
strange to
up,
me.
I'm on the boat by 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I get home anywhere between
And I'm
2 and
sure she
3.
knows this.
But I understand she knows this, but it's the fact that she bitches about, and it just drives me up. But it's usually when I'm not, when the money, like when fishing's poor, she bitches more about it when fishing's poor than when fishing's good.
What do you tell
Does
her?
that make sense? So,
What do you
so I,
tell her when she bitches?
until you make more money than me, shut up.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Well,
don't complain about how many hours. As long as I'm working and I'm making as much, if not more than you, and I'm not living off of you and taking advantage of you, like a lot of these other dudes do out here. They don't even get into a relationship. They get into a house shit. Like, you know
Oh
what I
God.
mean? Like, that's their bread and butter. Like, if it wasn't for these women, they wouldn't have a life. I'm not one of them dudes. I work, I pay my bills, I pay my share, make sure my kids, my wife, they have everything they ever possibly want.
so if she's not
She
happy,
goes on every
go find
single fucking
somebody
trip,
else.
every girl's trip she wants, she goes on. You know how many trips I've been on in the 10 years we've been together? 3. 2 of them's been with her. So, but
She
yeah, she
doesn't sound
explains she
very
never does anything, but
oppressed.
yet she go every month. She's going at least somewheres.
Right, and so you just taking a day off is kind of like your version of that, just having some peace.
Yes, exactly. When my day off, it's my day to do whatever the fuck I want to do.
That's the thing I've seen talked about a lot
Like,
is how men's ability to be peaceful can really make some women unhappy.
Why? It doesn't like not
yeah,
health, not
Maybe it's
any
because we're
healthy
not
woman.
neurotic like a lot of them are. Like your most neurotic guy usually is only kind of like as neurotic as might be average for a woman, right? We're not so full of thoughts and feelings a lot, so we can just sit down and go ah, you know.
the biggest issue, and I love my wife to death. Like, she has many good qualities about it. Like, she's an awesome fucking mother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd never take that away from her. She is a hard worker. Won't take that from her. But but then when it comes to the relationship side of it with me and her, like, she has a lot of shit. Like, I'm not saying I'm fucking perfect, but I definitely, she gets worked up and more pissed off about shit, and I'm more reactive than active. So
Like, yeah, they say women are higher in neuroticism, and so maybe it
They
does
but
say.
I don't know.
f- freak them out when someone is not having the same neurotic reaction they are, because that would isolate them in that feeling.
What's like uh it reminds me of this skit I saw where it's like a girlfriend translator, and so um and it goes something like the girlfriend asks the boyfriend, "Do you want to go get some ice cream with me?" Um, and he's like, "Sure, I'll go with you." And she's like, "You'll go with me, but you didn't say you wanted to get ice cream." He's like, "Oh, I already ate. I'm good, but I'm happy to go with you. And you can eat ice cream." And then she's like, "I don't want ice cream anymore." He's like, "Really, you don't?" And then the girlfriend translator, "Yes, I do want ice cream, but I wanted you to eat some with me." Um, and he's like, "Okay, then I'll get some with you." And she's like, "No, I wanted you to want to have ice cream at the same time that I want ice cream, because if only I want ice cream, then I'm a fat pig, right? And you doing it
Oh
because I
my
told you to is
God.
not the same.
Oh,
And now the moment's
that's
ruined."
something.
Women,
That's an
stop
argument my
gaslighting.
wife would have
Stop,
with me.
stop being puzzled at why we have issues with you. Stop gaslighting us. That's
Like,
Yeah,
some
no,
crazy
it was
shit.
a skit. It was a skit, but I imagine
Oh,
a situation
no,
where
no,
that's
that's an
happening.
argument my wife would
look
have.
how for
I'm dead
reality I
serious.
took it.
Because
How
listen to this.
convincing it was.
The other day, oh no, was it Wednesday? Last Wednesday, there was a spaghetti dinner at the church that the scouts are putting on, right? And she's the scout leader, and I go, I really don't want to go, but right? I go, I don't want to go, but because I just like literally walked in, I forgot about it, and I walked through the door, and she reminded me. I go, but I go, and I started to say, I know you, like you want me to go. Plus, it's food. I'm never turning down free fucking food, like or cheap food. You know what I mean? Why the hell would I?
I love a good church spaghetti dinner.
Like, well, let's just put it this way.
Oh,
This was
man.
the woman that cooked the meatballs. I don't know what the fuck she was thinking when she cooked them. She must have been half in the. She must had a bottle of fucking Chardonnay or something, because they were not cooked and they tasted like dog shit. But
Okay.
other than that, everything else was good.
Okay.
But anyways, I said I didn't want to go because, but you want me to go, and there's this, and then she started fucking having a conniption. So I'm just like, what the fuck? I go, when did I say I wasn't going? I said I don't really want to go, but oh, that was the wrong thing to say. Just even mention that I didn't want to go. Well, fine, don't fucking go then. Fucking
I
What?
remember when I was a
like,
kid one
holy
time,
fuck.
On Sunday morning we would usually have brunch, and the most common thing my mom would cook would be her homemade biscuits. And there was um we liked them so much that we would eat a lot of them, right? And she like had this plan that she wanted some to be left over for like dinners later on in the week, but she didn't tell us that. So when we ate too many and there weren't any left over, there's like three left. She's like, I don't have enough for later. You ruined my plan. Okay, and like, okay, we'll stop eating as many biscuits. So next couple times we ate significantly less biscuits, really only enough for like a breakfast, right? And there's like a huge pile of leftover biscuits in like the cake plate where she would store them for the week. And she was like, why are there so many biscuits? Do you not like them anymore? And my father was like, first you complain that we eat too many biscuits, then we eat less. It's like, why would you eat my biscuits? He's like, we can't win. And then she started laughing because she realized she'd been caught. And
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I know in men's work that famous example comes up with White Men Can't Jump with Rosie Perez and Woody Harrelson. And she asks for a glass of water. No, they're in bed and she's like, "Oh, I'm thirsty." And he's like, "Okay, I'll get you a glass of water." And she's like, "No, I don't want water. I want you to like understand that I'm thirsty and sit here and validate that that I'm thirsty." I'm like, "This is crazy. What is this?"
according to Internet God, he said, Laga, you have to learn to talk to women. I want to go so badly, but I have horrible diarrhea.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Look,
I see
there's a way to
somebody
say
else
that.
said, somebody says I sound like the guy from the Trailer Park Boys. That'd be Bubbles. Because only reason I say that, 'cause somebody else tells me I think it's Kane Corso mom says I remind her of Bubbles from the Trailer Park Boys. Bubbles?
Oh,
That's
is
a
that the
nice,
one with the
that's a nice
glasses? I don't
pussy
even
right
know how
there,
I know
boy.
this.
My kitties, I left, when I went to jail, I left my shack full of kitty food. That's a pretty kitty right there. I love Bubbles.
Yeah, what I say when I have to go to the bathroom, but I don't want to make it sound extremely disgusting, but I'm really trying to emphasize that like I have to go or I will explode, is I usually say nature calls. And I found that for whatever reason, people realize that phrasing is not negotiable, but it doesn't stir up all this stirring imagery. And maybe women need to just say that. It's like
Oh, is that the goal? Don't stir up
that's
imagery
what
in
women,
women.
I think, with what Internet God is getting to, like if they have really bad diarrhea and they have to go, they don't want to be seen as a woman. Like they don't want you to picture her on the toilet being like, "Ah,"
I don't.
no.
Women. You can't control how somebody pictures you. Stop
But
that. That's
that's the
why
thing.
they're
They're
neurotic. They're
neurotic
trying
about
to
it.
control something they can't control.
But
Not
like
laws. Once again, you're confused. So let me reorient you. The reason I brought up the example is because men themselves bring it up over and over. It's like almost like a meme in men's groups and men's works because that example is so relevant to men's experiences. Rosie O'Donnell. Oh, Perez. Yeah. Well, I always liked her too, except for that scene.
Rosie O'Donnell might have had nice boobs. I don't know.
She had boobs too, I think.
I wonder how she looked before she became a punchline for Trump.
I don't
I
know.
don't
I
think they
remember
ever.
her from that baseball movie with Madonna.
Oh yeah, the League of Their Own. I never saw that, but yeah, my dad likes that movie. I don't think he's seen it in
I don't know. You
30
believe some
years,
pretty
but
surreal stuff too, not lost. So I don't know what you do in Canada with movies and books. Well, do we have any other relationship issues to
um,
solve this
I don't
morning?
even. That's my problem. I don't even have an issue to solve, right? I'm trying to get to the point where I have
Well,
issues to
keep
solve.
hanging out here, and I'm sure you will acquire a few of them. Although you seem to have healthy boundaries.
That's what did me in last time. I was too calm, and my ex-girlfriend, um, I thought I like didn't care or whatever. Um,
So she
and I'm
wanted more
like,
drama, something more
I don't
dramatic.
know. I don't know. Maybe that's what she means. Maybe she was just insecure and kept telling herself that I didn't like her or whatever. I don't know. But I wasn't about to stick around for that. So
Hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah, I
it's
don't do
interesting
well with
because
games in
it's
relationships.
like when you're not dating them, if you seem very calm and reserved, that can often be a point of attraction, right? But then when you're in the relationship with them, I've heard other guys talk about this. They want you to be like this font of passion for them. They want to just be able to turn that switch on in you. Um, and um, but people are kind of what they are. Like when um, I'm interested in a girl, I never think, oh, if I start dating her, she'll change this way for me. I try to see how she already is,
Yeah.
like as a single person, and just assume like, well, if I'm around her and then we're officially dating, is that going to be a happy life?
And women evaluate more for potential.
Maybe, who knows? I think I'm talking about me. So maybe other men do not do what I do, right? Um, maybe it's a mistake humans make.
Oh, is it stoicism that throw like neurotic people? Because they seek out the stoicism because it's stability. It like grounds their neuroticism, but then it also unnerves them too and alienates them.
Right, because maybe it goes to like men having their peace, right? It's like if he can't be as neurotic as me, are we really in love? And they'll ask themselves questions like that. And I'll be like, of course I love you. I'm at peace. And she'll be like, what does that mean? It's I guess it's a classic situation of people not getting each other. It's like that hello goodbye song, right? That's what I assume the
Yeah,
meaning of that song is.
ambivalence.
Yeah, it's people, maybe not necessarily a couple, but the hello goodbye song I interpret as two people, whatever their relationship, who are just not on the same page about something.
Which is every relationship
It
at
could be
some
a song
point.
about
Like no
the
one's ever
Democrats
going
and
to overlap
Republicans.
100%.
Just imagine hello goodbye is actually an allegory to the Democratic and Republican parties. You say yes, and I say no. Hello, hello.
Polarization.
Right? You throw out the president, that you wanted to lose, you put in yours. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. It's great. It's a great song to sing if you're the winner.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll wind up then.
All right,
It
cool.
seems to be
It's
coming
good
to a
good
natural
chatting.
denouement.
Yes. Yeah, good morning everyone. It's still morning here, and thanks for hanging out.
Yep. I mean, oh, I didn't even. Oh, yeah, I did. Yes, yes. Thank you. I mean that. Thank you too. And I have stuff to do like mostly today, but like later today or afternoon, evening, I'll be out again. Leggy, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Do something fun or at least something to take the stress off. And I'll see y'all next time. Here, let's get the. There we go. All right, take care. See you at the next one.